Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for joining us as it's night number 3 of the Paranormal with Merle. Merle is here, Ghost of the Great White North, so get ready to Merle it up, people, as we get ready for a special guest as well. Paranormal comedian Richie Bell is here, but first we want to say hello to each and every one of you. Let us start off with Kitty Caddywhack in the gold medal position. Mel WD-40. Lubing us up for tonight's show with a silver medal. Thank you, Mel. And Race Fan taking home the bronze medal tonight as we scroll on down and we say thank you to Kitty for that great super chat. The super chat is a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you, Kitty, very, very much. And Robert Lamoth, how you doing? Nice to see you. Luscious Jules, good to have you here. And it's Amy Vegas O, everybody. Amy Vegas O will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind, to the left of the studio. Ozzy, Jaquetta, nice to have you both here as we scroll on down in our roll call to say hello to Thunderhead, Stephanie Kenny Blankenship, Integrationing, nice to have you all here tonight. Desert Rat, nice to see you. John Jackson, thanks for coming on in. Millennium is here. Millennium, a man, will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind, to the right of the studio. Flubber Lane, nice to see you. Number 37 in your program tonight, starting in goal from Stockholm, Sweden. Lars Jansson. There he is. Millennium merling it up. Gotta love it. Frankie B, nice to see you. Randog, welcome to SOR chat. And who else do we got? We got Merling himself. Aussie Boss Tiger. How you doing, my friend? Way to Merle it. Good morning, Skip to Malou. Divine Diamond, how are you? Cool Arrow. Gory Tiger, it's been a while. Nice to have you back as we scroll on down on our roll call to say hello to Walter Kochabinski. Nice to have you here. Mama Catherine, there she is. Mwah. I love you, my dear. I hope you're having a great night. And I know you love it when Merle is on. So tonight will be dedicated to you, Mama Catherine, because I know you love Merle too. And Skip to My Lou is Merling it up in Denmark. Thank you. As we scroll on down, Reverend Wolf, nice to have you here. Undead Jed, how you doing? Jerence Carter. Nice to see you. Algaray over on Twitch, so pumped up for Merle tonight that he did 6,000 Merle ups in 11 minutes, 22 seconds. 6,000 Merle ups. That's a new record, everybody. Good job, Algaray. Thanks for doing that. Kurt M., nice to see you as we scroll on down. East Coast Turnaround on X is Merling it up. And who else do we have? Snowball, Snow Baby, how are you? Jeff Papalia, nice to have you here, my friend. And I think we are caught up. Let's get the radio side going here. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We're delving into the paranormal as our friend Merle is here for Ghosts of the Great White North. And we just continue on to Merle it on up as we say hello to Kathy Evans. Nice to have you here. And I think we're caught up on our roll call. We want to remind everybody on our YouTube side, Super Chat is open. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. And of course, you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. So make sure you check it on out. Also, if you're listening in on the podcast side, whether it's Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Podbean, wherever, don't forget to give us a follow, rate us, hopefully high, as we are here 5 nights a week. Most people are not. They're here once a week, once a month. Not us. We're always here for you. Throw those horns up, everybody. Let's rock.
Are you ready to hear your mystic voice of the night?
It's time to wake up.
He's here. Shush. Be quiet. He's ready for you to listen. Let's point our ears towards the little cabin in the woods. We're together. It's time for Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott.
From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I'm your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Caribou Con. Come see Merle and many more at Caribou Con September 18th through 20th. Tickets are on sale right now at cariboucon.com. We're going to get all into the paranormal tonight. Our main man in the paranormal world, Merle from the Paranormal Road Trippers, is back for Ghosts of the Great White North. And then in hour number 3, Swamp Dweller will join us for another creepy story. We'll follow that up with Terry Hall, his beautiful mustache, and the weird news of the week. So let's get right to it, because I know you guys love a good ghost story, so we're going to take it off right now. Merle is a veteran paranormal investigator from Langley, British Columbia, and a familiar voice to fans here on SOR through the popular segment, Ghosts of the Great White North. With more than 20 years of experience investigating haunted locations, unexplained activity, and paranormal phenomena, Merle has built a reputation for his calm, methodical, and respectful approach to the supernatural. Blending historical research with real-world investigations, Merle has explored some of North America's most notorious haunted locations, including Barkerville Historic Town in BC, the Mackay Mansion in Virginia City, and the eerie St. Ignatius Hospital in Washington State. Through his work on the Paranormal Road Trippers, Merle, the man, the myth, and the legend, continues to document chilling encounters, ghost hunts, and haunted history for audiences fascinated with the unknown. Let's bring him on in. Our man, Merle, always a pleasure to have you here. How you doing?
Doing great, Dave. Finally, Merle has come back to Spaced Out Radio with a funny guest, I might say.
And who is our guest tonight?
We have the guy they call the Ghost Comic, and he goes by Richie Bell.
Hello.
And
Richie,
him and I,
have you on Spaced Out Radio for the first time. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. How are you? You doing good?
I'm doing absolutely great. Thank you for joining us. Richie, I got to ask you, what is a paranormal comedian?
It's like a comedian, but they only perform for haunted houses and the ghosts that dwell within it. So it's a bit easier. It's a bit easier than being a stand-up comedian.
Well, that's good. Merle, how did you meet Richie?
I can't hear Richie, but I can tell you how I met Richie. Can you hear Richie okay, Dave?
Yeah, we're hearing Richie. Well,
Oh, weird. No, I can't hear him at all. But Richie and I met probably in 2021, would you say? Nod, Richie. I can't hear you.
Oh, yeah, this is going to go great. Yeah.
2020. I went to go do an investigation at a local haunt here that's no longer called the Pink Palace. And I rolled in with my team. We look all serious, you know. We got our cases, all of our equipment, and all of a sudden, I see a guy in a Ghostbuster costume, and I forget what your friend was wearing, but that was funny too. But they're all wearing themed costumes, Dave, and they were doing kind of like a funny investigation that he called the Ghost Comic, and I remember him coming outside. We kind of look at each other, and I look at him, and I'm like, "So, what are you about?" And that's kind of, I think that's how it went, and that's where we met. The clash of the serious and the funny, kind of like a yin and yang, and we've been friends since.
Yeah.
Richie, what did you think of Merle when you first met him?
Well, I know Merle can't hear me, so I guess I can kind of say whatever I want to. So when Merle walked in, it was like we were playing school, and like the Terminator and his team kind of walked in. So we're wearing these costumes. We're trying to do like a Halloween goofy investigation, and Merle and his team walk in with their typical like black puffer vests and their like military style briefcases full of cameras. So most of the night, the night that I met Merle, most of the night was actually trying to stay out of his way, because they were gathering like some fantastic footage. I guess not footage. I don't know if they were recording or not, but getting a lot of interactions. And it was just me in a Ghostbusters outfit, and my buddy was dressed as a lion. And we were just kind of going around doing a kind of a semi-promotional tour, our commercial for the Pink Palace. So that's how I met Merle, being an absolute dork. And then he caught me outside of the Pink Palace, and he asked me pretty much what we're doing. And I was like, I just want to see if ghosts can laugh. Because beforehand, I was getting a lot of flack for making fun of ghosts, but it was the genuine want of trying to make ghosts laugh. And I think Merle saw that, and he was like, that's interesting. I'm going to bring you on a ghost hunt one day. And yeah, we've been friends ever since.
Well, you definitely have better hair than Merle, I can tell you that.
Yeah, and he can't hear me agree. He can't hear me vehemently agree, which is great, because I'm going to shake my rats. Oh, rats! I said nothing but good things until you could hear me.
Yes, Dave. He has luscious long locks. He looks like Sasquatch. A good one. A GQ
you know what?
one.
When you guys kind of meet up and Merle, you look at what Rich is doing, you know, something completely different. I mean, it's easy to kind of pawn it off as, you know, here's this skeptical guy trying to make fun of what we do. And yet you find out it's completely different. It's a different way of trying to bring the spirits out. What was your thoughts on that, Merle?
Well, when I initially met him, I'm like, who's this wacko? The way he was doing it, right? But then, like, just talking to Richie, and he's not there to make fun of the ghosts. He's there to entertain them. You get guys like me that go in and try and get the evidence, and on a more serious matter. But like, if you think about it, these ghosts were human once, and Richie's trying to make them laugh, trying to make them feel human again, and that's rad. And I totally respect that angle, that shtick. And it works, because him and I have been on a handful of investigations that we've both experienced some weird things. Yeah.
And I think the humor is a little bit for us too, and for the viewers, to show that like ghost hunting isn't that. It doesn't have to be scary, serious, night vision, standing in a basement, terrified. When we can find humor in it, if a ghost is able to as well, and to be able to get a reaction from a spirit who's understanding the context of a joke, I think is just as valid evidence, and a way funner way to get it.
That's thinking outside the box. How did you come up with that, Richie?
Honestly, it was during COVID. Because we were doing like shows kind of like this, but we were doing like people were buying tickets to comedy Zoom shows or doing like Zoom open mics where like people would all log in. You'd have like kind of your cast in the background. I say cast, your open micers in the background, and then you'd have however many people signed in. The second the show started, they would turn their cameras off or turn their audio off and leave their cameras on. So it was like we were performing for people that couldn't make any noise. And I just remember thinking, because I was at a hotel, I think it was in Penticton working on a show. And I was like, I'm just performing for ghosts here. And I was like, maybe I should just perform for ghosts then. Because it helped also with the COVID regulations, trying to keep your small bubble. I was like, there's only going to be 3 of us. Like, this feels like a feasible thing to do. So that's honestly where it came from, just doing Zoom comedy shows and realizing, man, what a bust when you can't hear the audience.
Merle, when you kind of look at, different ways of doing things, you're somebody who is always looking for different techniques in order to try and bring the spirits out. Did you think something like comedy would actually work?
It honestly never crossed my eyes, man. I didn't know how that would work. I'm an investigator by nature, by daytime. I think that's how I'm wired. And I've never thought to think outside of the box and take a risk with certain things. And I admire it. And I've watched Richie do it. I've been with him when he does it. And it's not for everyone, but well, I say that in a respectful I say that in a respectful way. Because you and I have had lengthy talks, Richie, same Dave, with you. We've talked about the community and how there's a lot of sticky people out there. They get offended really easy. But the technique of how he does it, it's fun. It's fun to watch. And man, if I was a ghost, I'd rather have a comedian coming there and trying to give me a laugh than mocking me to prove that I'm there and knock 3 times. At the end of the day, it's a good move.
Richie, how did you figure out it would work?
It just honestly, it just seemed like one of those ideas that was so dumb it was smart. Like one of those ones where like I would be mad if I thought of that, didn't do anything to put it out there, and then saw someone else doing it. It's honestly as simple as that. Like it felt so stupid that it might be genius. I was like, well, I have to give it a shot because I feel like it's gonna be stumbled upon at some point, and I would like to at least, if as I continue this, at least put my stamp and be like, no, I did it before it was popular, and now it's actually becoming a little bit popular for comedians to go on paranormal investigations. So I'm a little rattled by.
Well, that's good. You figured out your own niche and everything like that. Were you a believer in the paranormal, or were you just kind of goofing off, trying to see if this crap was real, and then kind of found out it was?
No, I've always been a believer in the paranormal. I grew up in a pretty, not severely haunted, but a haunted, and I guess as it's haunted is, you don't have to gradient it, but I grew up in a haunted house, and my mom got me really into the paranormal. She's always been into ghosts, and we used to do, oh God, I think it was on like the Women's Network growing up. On like Friday nights, they would have Fright Night, and we would just stay at home and watch all these ghost shows back to back to back to back. So I was always interested in the paranormal. I just never knew how to access it because it did seem like a pretty kind of closed off world. So I decided if I can't break into that world, I'm just going to make my own that's kind of running adjacent.
Merle, take it away.
Yeah, Richie, I remember you talking, and you had experiences in your house that made you kind of firm up to beliefs.
Yeah, when I used to,
because you're from the East Coast, Nova Scotia.
I'm from the East Coast, from Nova Scotia. So we got ghosts.
What did you experience, man?
So when I was, I'd say probably like 5 or 6, there used to be like a little boy who would like walk through my room. So I was always petrified of the dark. And I remember this one night I woke up probably around like hard to tell when you're a kid because dark is dark. So it could be like 10 p.m., it could be 1 a.m. But I remember seeing this kid walk through my room, and I just thought it was my brother because he was looking at all my stuff on my wall. So I brought it up with my parents, being like, hey, AJ's coming through my room at night. I don't much care for it. And so they brought it up with him. He said he wasn't doing it. So the next night that it happened, I went into his room because I was like, if you're going to look at my stuff, I'm going to look at yours. And he was asleep in his bed. And I looked back at my room, and this little like darker than dark, kind of like a shadow, child size, looked back, and it had like a red tinge to its eyes. And then I was like, okay, this is something.
What did it look like?
It looked like the silhouette of like a child, but there was like no features. It was just like a child-size humanoid shadow that was darker than the darkness of the room around it. And it just had these like big kind of, yeah, just like not like glowing red or anything like that, but like a reddish hue to the eyes.
Oh, there's nothing
would
creepy
terrify
about
me.
a ghost
Nothing
child.
wrong with that. Yeah, my parents got me a dog, and honestly, once we got the dog, it went away. I never saw it again. We did find out later that there was like a house fire or something like that in like the 60s, and a child passed away in that house.
I wonder if the red eyes correlate to the fire. I don't know. I've seen yellow eyes in the spirit ones, and it petrified me. That was up by Dave's neck of the woods, and there's just something about seeing the different colored eyes. It just sticks with you. Like, I don't know. Red eyes would be. Was it like a shadow figure? Or was
Yeah, it was like a deep shadow figure with just red eyes. It's funny because like when like driving through the woods at night, you know what I mean? Like all the animals have like the different reflections of their eyes, and like predatory ones have like red reflective. It was kind of like that, but a little bit like not as vibrant, like you're shining a light into its face, but like just this dull red in its eyes. And yeah, that was my first experience with ghosts. So right off as a kid, whenever we'd watch like horror movies or ghost shows, all my buddies would be like, well, that's not real. And I'm in my head going, no, it's real. No, it's real. You just haven't seen it yet. But I never talked about it because, you know, there was a point in time where he'd sound like a nut job by saying there's a little shadow boy who looked at all the fake hockey trophies in my room at night. You can't be going around saying that. But now it's a little bit more open, so now you can talk about it, I think. I hope.
safe place here to talk about it, Richie. Safe place.
Yeah, bud.
Merle, we're gonna get you to get a little bit closer to your mic. Real quiet here, man.
I'm trying. Sorry, yeah, I'm just trying a new setup with my mic tonight. On our break, I'll adjust it better. So,
all right. So when Richie, you are out investigating and doing this, how do you pick the location to choose where you want to go and try this out? Because obviously, I'm sure there are certain locations you're like, yeah, I really don't want to be the class clown here tonight. I want to be, you know, a little bit respectful. I guess you got to kind of choose your locations.
Well, it was interesting because, like, when we were doing it initially, a lot of it working in film in the locations department, you kind of go to quite a few places where they report having ghost stories. So a lot of my first few were just at locations where we already had kind of a rapport with the owners. So we would just kind of investigate, not knowing what was there, but just kind of going based off the reports. I would say the first time that I got like, I'll say like I got the consequences of doing jokes was my first investigation with Merle up in Merritt. We went to a spot where even beforehand we were at like a Denny's, and our medium, who didn't know I was there to do comedy. I think it was very important for me to make sure that she didn't know why I was there, because I didn't want, I didn't want to taint any possible evidence. So she, as we're sitting there eating our Denver omelets or whatever, she says a spirit comes up and says, I know what you're planning to do. But what's in the house you're going to doesn't understand humor, or something to that effect. It was never human. It's not a human ghost. So we got there, and it was a pretty rowdy. Oh gosh, Merle, what was the name of the spot again? Bailey House.
yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. So we get there, and that was probably the first time I've ever had negative effects of trying to do jokes for an entity that doesn't want it. And ever since then, I will say that kind of made me rear back and kind of do my research a little bit more before you go off telling telling jokes to entities that might not even comprehend it.
One thing that I noticed when we were there, Richie, because like you're a pretty chill guy on investigations, and we were in the basement of this place, Dave, and Richie couldn't get his jokes out. Like he had written some jokes, and it was like he was stopped in his tracks when he would try and say like the punchline or the bit.
Yeah,
He couldn't get the bit out.
I remember I kept losing my breath, and if I feel like this is the investigation where I felt like there was like a hand like touching my chest at one point,
Yeah,
and I had
yeah.
I had the chest camera, and I believe that shut off at some point around the time that that happened. So yeah, I couldn't get the punchline out, and I was down there for like 35 minutes trying to dry start this 2 minute joke over and over and over again, and I just couldn't get it out.
Dave, that was the first time he came on like an investigation like that with me, and I told him he was going to go down in the basement and communicate solo for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and I left him down there for 35 minutes.
Yeah, it was it didn't feel like it though. It was weird. It felt long, but it also felt very short. It was very confusing. I think trying to do a joke over and over again, you kind of lose track of time.
But the thing about the Bailey house, like you're a funny guy, and when we were upstairs, you Dave, I don't know if I've told you this story, but he turned on me. Richie turned on me.
Oh, I lost it. Oh,
And he told me
I
to
lost it.
drop the F word camera because he wanted to have a word with me. So I put the camera, I'm like, what the heck? I put the camera down to my side, but of course I don't stop recording. Got to get that shot, got to get the audio. And he was swearing at me, calling me names and not being very nice, and that he wanted to throw me out the window.
What caused
And
that?
Richie, why don't you
Yeah,
tell
from
what
from what I mean, I wasn't there for some of this, and this is my first experience of kind of losing time. But I remember feeling like almost like my body was humming, like you know when you're super cozy in bed and like you're about to fall asleep, and you kind of get that little hum on you, and then you pass out. It felt like that, and then next thing I remember, we were in the bedroom, and they were asking me, which is like this. First of all, this is probably the most horrifying sentence to come back to. They were looking at me going, "What do you mean by our rage?" And I was like, "What?" And they said, "You just said our rage." I guess they'd asked me where my rage was coming from, and I responded with our rage. And then I kind of shook out of it. We left, but I think that was my first, because I don't remember. That was probably what, like about 10 minutes. And the only thing I remember is being in the hallway, wanting to put the camera down because I felt like I was gonna pretty much faint, and I didn't want to damage the camera. And then we were in the bedroom, and I was being confronted about having multiple rages. So I think that was I guess that would be a pretty much a possession, which was that's what made me start kind of putting the brakes on. Okay, at what point is this a comedy show, or at what point is this a paranormal investigation with consequences?
I
that
can
makes
see
sense.
that would be a little bit of an issue, kind of moving the ball forward because, you know, had you ever been possessed before or had attachments? I need about a 25-second answer.
Nope. Nope. There, 22 seconds saved.
No, and just watching it happen, Dave, it was freaky because he was carefree. Then all of a sudden, he just turned into a rage. And like you and I have seen that with people before at the 108 Ranch.
Merle, hold that thought. We are going to take a break here at the bottom of the hour. Ghosts of the Great White North with our main man Merle, special guest, paranormal comedian Richie Bell. More ghost stories when we return. All right, we're clear. Merle, we're also getting an echo from your end.
Okay.
So there's I'm wondering if you're not coming through your microphone, but you're coming through your computer. Because there is like your computer camera, because there's an echo.
It's from him, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave,
That's
can I
where it's
log
from,
in
right?
and out?
Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra.
Can I log in and out really quickly?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Cool.
You got 4.5 minutes.
Okay.
Merle. How you doing, man? All right. Then there was just me. I'm liking the new hair and beard. Feels much better. Tell the weather is changing again. My knees are killing me. Killing me. We'll go here. All right. Merle, you back? Give me a thumbs up. All right.
How's that? Is that better?
No, now you sound like you're in the toilet.
Classic. Usually am.
Hi, Scoose. How you doing? Ninja, how you doing?
Now I sound pretty, don't I?
Yes, you do.
Okay, good. It's fixed.
You're still quiet.
Okay.
Hold on. Just keep quiet for a second. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm not hearing the echo anymore, which is good. And do you want to talk?
Yeah, I can talk. How's that sound?
Yeah.
Is that better?
You're still quiet.
That's strange.
Do you
I'm
listen to
using
Richie? Richie, talk for a second.
Yeah. Now testing 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, Merle, give me a test.
Hello, Dave. How are you today?
Better now. You're better now.
Okay, good.
Oh, I can barely hear him.
Just to our chat room, there's not enough Merling going on. Merle needs more Merling. Okay.
Duh.
You know, he's the kind of guy that if you don't Merle enough, he's going to disappear.
And Merle never has audio issues. So for me to get out of this audio issue drama, y'all need to do the Merling. Right, Richie?
Hey, I just came in for the Merling. I just started hearing you. It said Merling. So yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
There we go. That's better, people.
Get those Merles in.
Yeah. You can't screw around with the Merles.
No, you can't, man. It's weird. Nobody wants to screw around with that stuff.
Did you like the Brock Merlzer?
I did. I like that one a lot. Who knows how long he'll be here for.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got a new coaching staff coming. That's a good step.
That's true.
Look at K-17 going hard. It's whack-a-merle. Even
That's a good one,
just
actually.
getting into this for Richie.
Whack-a-Merle's a good one.
That's a good one. Whack-a-Merle? That's a good one.
Good Merling, people.
Love a good
Catherine,
Merling.
great Merling. Benno, great Merling. Matthew, good Merling.
I like Mama Catherine's here.
Yeah, Mama Catherine. Doesn't it just make you feel good when she's here?
She's awesome.
She is. You know, she's blushing right now. She's totally blushing right now.
We'll see her in Vegas in no time.
I know. We're just going to steal her. Even if Charlie doesn't come, we're just going to steal her.
Yeah.
Mama Catherine, would you be okay if Merle and I kidnapped you to Vegas? Thank you to Kitty Cattywack, our lone super chatter of the night. If you haven't already, give us a thumbs up. It helps with our algorithms. If you're listening on the podcast side, don't forget to give us a good rating, because it helps. It helps.
You know what else we need, Dave? You know what else helps? If everyone goes like this.
No, that doesn't help.
No?
Here we go, everybody.
What is a super chat? What does that mean? What's
Here we go with the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. We got Ghosts of the Great White North with our main man Merle coming up here momentarily. But first, we want to remind all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here we go. We got Merle. We got Richie Bell, the paranormal comedian, hanging on out for Ghosts of the Great White North. And we're glad to have you guys here. Thank you so much for being here, Merle.
No, Dave, thank you. I'm happy to be here every month with you.
It's always good to have you here. Always good. All right, let's get into some ghost stories here, guys, because, you know, one of the big things that people love about this show is listening to big time, really freaky, spooky, or just weird stories of what's going on, whether it's paranormal, cryptid, UFOs. What do you got for us, Merle?
Richie, I got a story you could tell. This is top tier stuff. Richie, tell the story about when we were in the same room, like that double room up in Powell River.
Oh, with the courthouse in?
Yeah, explain the courthouse in, but also explain what happened to us. This is a good story, Dave. You like this?
So the courthouse in, me and Mike went up there. He was running a paranormal hunting experience weekend. So there was a bunch of people that were staying up in this inn, and I don't know how to like properly explain it with the jargon, but like every room in this hotel, like this small town hotel, had a separate yet similarly active spirit in there. It was a bizarre sense. The first night we were there, we could kind of feel that the energy was already starting to buzz. I think the night in question that Mike's talking about, because we did have experience throughout the weekend. There was one night, I don't remember if it was the same night or not, but there was one night where we caught at the foot of my bed, he had put a haunted doll. He put a haunted doll at the end of my bed with a poltertune facing it and a trap camera. And we did catch at like 4 a.m. Trap camera footage of a shadow broaching the poltertune light. You can see the poltertune activating, or at least one of the lights came on top. I don't know if that's actually activating it, but one of the lights saying "I see something" came on, and then you could see it moving away. I believe it was that same night that I woke up feeling like somebody sat on the end of the bed, like right next to me. So I jumped up, terrified. I had used one of our gear cases because our rooms were connected by a door, and I just had a horror movie flashback that door was going to close at some point. I was going to be trapped in the room. So I put our heaviest case there. I look over to where Merle's sleeping. There's kind of like what I described with that kid, like a shadow darker than the shadows around it was just standing over Merle. And I'm like, oh, I feel like I have to do something because I'm terrified. I need Merle to wake up, and he's clearly being attacked in my eyes. So I go to run to his room to try to wake him up to turn on the light. I trip over the case that I had put between the doors. I end up falling at pretty much the foot of his bed, pretty much grabbing him by his feet as I fall. He wakes up screaming. Apparently he was having a dream that he was being strangled. That was like, I think that was our second night there. we still had like 2 more nights to spend. That was our first night there. Was me scaring the bejesus out of him after seeing a shadow standing over him.
Yeah, Dave, it was crazy. So the night before, the day of this happening, leading into the night, one of the local town, she's kind of a psychic, comes over and says, "There's a bit of a cranky spirit here, and they're gonna let you know, they're gonna let you know that they're here tonight." So me being Merle, I'm like, okay, sure. And but I woke up, dude, and I had that old hag experience. I had what looked to be like an old rotten type witch kind of on top of me, holding my arms down, like with one of her, or holding my arm down with one of her arms, but with her other hand, she was like shoving her like rotten, muddy water, like wet hair in my mouth. And I couldn't move. I couldn't get up. It was one of the most terrifying things to ever happen to me. And I remember seeing this, I guess it would be the old hag, doing this, just locking eye contact with sheer anger and just did not appreciate me being there or whatever.
Right.
And all I remember is hearing the thud of the case, and I guess it vanished or disappeared. And the most messed up part of this story is when I woke up, Richie can attest to this, I had a hand mark on my arm.
Yeah.
Like we're being held down. Like kind of like a bruise. And to fast forward before this happened, like when Richie was having his activity in his room, so the pulsar tune that he was using, it was more of a proximity sensor. And if there's anything that goes around it, it would light up and beep. And so that was going off by the boudoir doll. And then all of a sudden, we capture the shadow on the trap cam. And then I'm held down by what appeared to be like that old hag thing.
Do me a favor, Merle.
Yeah, Dave.
Quickly here. For our audience who may not be familiar with what an old hag is, explain that for us.
Yeah, so the old hag, because it's kind of in the place for the same team as like the Shadow Man, the Hat Man, and all that sorts of stuff. The old hag, she appears in your dreams, so they say, but she looks like an old, you would say like 1600s witch. And she's wearing like raggy garbs and usually looks wet, like she's been drowned or rotten. And her hair is usually really stringy, coming out, greasy, muddy, and wet. And she's usually gaunt. Her teeth are rotten. Breath stinks. It's disgusting, really. And she will come to people's dreams. I've had that experience 3 times in my life. And I try to pinpoint, is there something happening in my life at the time? Like if she's lured in by if you're having lower energy, depression, or things going on, but I didn't at that time. And so I couldn't explain it, Dave. And they say the old hag will sit on your chest or straddle you. And at this point, she was sitting on my chest and holding me down, kind of like sleep paralysis. It's essentially sleep paralysis, but you see the old hag. You can't move. You can't move your legs. You can't yell. You can't scream. You can't talk. You can't move your head. And you're just literally pinned down. And all you feel is when you're trying to scream is, when you get like a hair in your mouth when you're eating food, which is gross. Picture 100 of them in your mouth, like going in between your teeth and everything. It's disgusting. And then feeling like the ice cold hand on your arm, or some people have reported, it never happened to me, but some people have reported it on your neck, holding it down. Dear God, if that happened to me, I would leave the chat of the paranormal if it was on the neck. But that's what it is, Dave, and that's what I experienced. And you smell it. Like I woke up, I could smell it. It's a smell you'll never forget. If you smelled it once, you'll always be able to smell it, of like an actual dead body. And that's what it smells like. It's disgusting, like rot. and she was just gone. And I know I rarely show fear, especially doing the ghost hunting. I always try to be an anchor for everyone when I'm investigating with people, but I think Richie saw me in a very vulnerable state at that time. Terrifying.
Yeah. We both screamed at the same time and forgot that, because this was like, we came up the night before everyone else was supposed to come up, so there was like actual people staying there. I think there was like two couples like right above us, and at like 2:00 or I think it was it might have been like early morning. Just two grown men screaming, and then I think apologizing right away for screaming. like both of us would scream and be like, "Sorry." Anyway, this is what I saw, and it was interesting that his dream, even though like I could only see like the shadowy figure, but it's essentially like where he was feeling that I was seeing something on top of him.
The scary part about it, but it is cool, is that, Richie, you're witnessing this in real time as it's happening to Merle. That is a very rare occasion in the paranormal.
Yeah. And I didn't have my hair this long at that point, so there's no way it could have been me. Just for anyone wondering, oh, yeah, long-haired guy staying next door and you felt hair going in your mouth. It wasn't me.
No.
My hair was quite a bit shorter then. You'll have to trust me.
Dave, have you ever experienced anything like that? Like the
No.
old hag syndrome or sleep paralysis?
I did get attacked in the upstairs of the barn on this past Saturday.
I need
at
you to
the
tell that
108 Mile
story.
Heritage site
Okay.
What barn? Like your own barn?
at our museum barn at the 108 Mile Heritage site. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And that one came out of the blue. You know, Merle, where the catwalk is, and then there's that room underneath the catwalk.
Yeah.
There's something in there that just, it's an idiot. Whatever it is, it's an idiot. And I don't mind calling it that. And I walked in there, could totally sense there was something different, something uneasy in there, but it didn't feel too bad. So I brought our tour in there, 15 people, and we were looking for the guy on the stairwell. And when we walked out, or just before we walked out, about 5-6 minutes later, that's when he got me.
Oh,
And
damn.
I was dry heaving all over the place, having that paranormal sickness that you get, and didn't feel very good. You know, I didn't show that in front of our clientele, but you know, it's something they really don't need to see me doing, is dry heaving all over the place. But I was able to hold it together until they got down the stairs, and that's when it started for me.
How do you? One thing I've never asked you, Dave, because I know we've touched on like getting attacked or taken over by spirits or whatnot, is how do you deal with it? Okay, so it happens, and then the after effect. Like, you've dealt with it, you've done it. They've affected you, but how do you kind of reset yourself to like be okay?
I think for me, it's immediately getting saged and trying to get the spirit off. It's working with my spirit guides to kind of count it down to say, okay, how much does this entity have on me? Is it going away? Is the sage helping, like really walking through it? Because I have a real close connection with one of my guides.
Mhm.
And then I try and get a hold of somebody who's intuitive that I trust to see if they have the ability. The people I know have the ability to remove it fully, so that way it's not fully attached. But you can pretty much feel when it lets go. Like all of a sudden you just feel lighter. And to put it bluntly, it feels like after you decide, you know, in our younger days, when you decide to stop drinking for the night, and about an hour later after you stop drinking, you can feel the hangover starting to kick in.
Yeah.
And that's what it feels like, is a hangover.
That's fair. Like for me, like just talking about that old hag, I brings up the old feeling of what I was going through. It makes me feel like guilty or like I did something wrong. Like I didn't, obviously, but like kind of shy, gun shy, so to say, of like dealing with that sort of stuff. Because I've had negative things happen to me, a handful of times over the years, and I guess it always sticks with you. Like a piece of you sticks with each interaction of something negative or angry. I don't want to say PTSD because that's a strong term, but like you kind of it chips at you like a little cut in you every time it happens. Which leads me to my next question for Richie. Like when you got taken over, like I've never asked you this either. At the Bailey house, how did you feel after? Like I remember you and I were sharing a hotel room again, and it was like we were in a big room. It was like a big double bed. It was a kitchenette, I think,
I think
and
so, yeah.
you were off the rest. In my opinion, just observing you, you were off the rest of the night. I know you like we were joking about it because that's the nature, but like, did it affect you? Like, did you feel anything after?
Yeah, like I remember feeling like just exhausted, just not not physically tired, like I just ran a marathon, but just like every bit of like gumption that I had was just like minimal. I felt like the social battery is minimal. Every energy creating component of my body was just baseline. I was so excited. This was my first true paranormal investigation, and yeah, after that happened, like it wasn't that I was physically fatigued. I just felt energetically drained. Is that a thing? I felt like I needed electrolytes. Like I was about 7 Gatorades short of being fine. But you can't have that much sugar that late at night. That's important.
We dubbed that a paranormal hangover, right, Dave? That's what we're calling
That's
it.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. The paranormal hangover. When it hits you good. And the key is to try and get it released as quickly as possible, because the last thing you want to do is take any sort of entity home, especially from its place of residence or whatever. And the one thing about like our museum up here is we get a lot of transient spirits
Yes.
that will come in. Like we know where the ghosts are, but it's the ghosts we don't know that always, seem to kind of just hijack you at times. And it only happens a couple times a year because the resident ghosts don't usually hit us anymore. We've got deals with them. But this time,
the resident ghosts don't usually hit us anymore. So that's not something you hear every day.
well,
true.
That's wild.
like I'll give you an example, Richie, since you don't know, but we have a ghost of the upstairs of that barn that literally hated the fact that his picture was taken twice.
Yes.
And he went haywire on myself and my investigator friend Mark. He went haywire on us. He got me twice, he got Mark 3 times. And finally, we had to cut a deal with him, and just say, look, we're not going anywhere. We need you to participate in this tour. Tell you what we'll do. We'll cut a deal. We'll bring you a bottle of whiskey. We'll keep you well supplied with tobacco, and we won't come up on your catwalk during the tour.
Richie, it's kind of like trigger objects Uno. Like we like trigger objects to talk to ghosts and kind of light provoke them for them to have a chat with us. But like in other occurrences, like to keep the peace, that's why I said Uno, was like Dave brings and I think it's kind of neat. I think it's kind of a cool technique. I know there's 2 spots at Dave's location where he brings stuff, and I know bringing the alcohol and the tobacco keeps, because that was probably currency also back in the day.
Yeah, sounds like my kind of audience.
And I know when Dave tops it up or makes it or has fresh stuff. I know the activity, Dave, would you say increases or would you say it just stabilizes?
It stabilizes, like it totally cuts the tension. But one thing that we do when we go on our tours, so if people go to haunted108.com, they can sign up for our tours if they're driving on through or need a vacation. One of the things that we do, Richie, is we actually will go in every building prior to the tour, and we will explain to the ghosts, hey, we'd love it if you could help us out tonight. We don't ask them to perform. We don't ask them to do their thing. We just say, hey, we'd love it if we could, if you would participate with us tonight. You know, we have people coming through on a tour, and we would appreciate if you could help us give them a fun experience, because without them, we're raising money to keep your home safe.
Yeah.
Which is true. We're raising
Do you
money.
find that do you find the activity kind of like they respond to it?
I would say 8 to 9 times out of 10. Not all of them do, you know, but it all depends, you know, on at our place. It all depends on what they're feeling. We have one room, or called the bunkhouse, where we have a little boy named Billy in there. And 2 tours ago, Billy was playing with everybody, setting off all the machines, setting off all the lights. And this past tour didn't even show up. He blipped a couple of lights and that was it. You know, so I mean, it all depends if they want to play or not.
Yeah. I wonder if it takes a second, because like I feel like if after after my experience where like my energy was just drained, for them to have to utilize it, like if they're setting everything off, I wonder if there's like a recharge time. Like if it's, you know, if it takes a second for them to gather that strength to do that again, because it's got to be confusing as all get out once you become a ghost. Now you're just the energy version of what you once were. Like it's got to be so confusing, especially if you're a kid. Like my God, my God, if you're a kid in there.
I think so. I think they're like us, where they can only go for so long and they're tired. I find this a lot during investigations. You're getting a lot of evidence, you're getting a lot of communication, you're getting a lot of occurrences happening, and then all of a sudden it just goes quiet. Like, kind of like all of the energy is gone and you're just in an empty room. It feels like you were just in a busy room, like a theater, but now you're just in an empty room. It's weird. Like the 108 Ranch is historically like that, or infamously like that. Because I've investigated with Dave many times where we're getting a lot of stuff popping off on our equipment, and then they've had enough. They want us to leave, or they just stop talking, and you can feel it. It's like a weight kind of taken off. It's kind of neat. It's kind of neat how that happens. And
it's like the silence gets a little bit more quiet. It's like that feeling when you turn the fan off in a room and you don't realize that was actually making quite a bit of noise.
Yeah, and like Dave will even say, like, they're done, and then we just know. We just know it's done.
That's wild.
It's very weird. I mean, it's different, you know, from our location at Flight 21, but it is much more controlled, and you feel like you're in a controlled atmosphere, whereas at Flight 21 you feel like you're in an uncontrolled world of paranormal, supernatural, battling nature at the same time. So it's a completely different level of investigation in what we're doing and what we're trying to do. So, you know, you have to have a good team that you trust around you on both ends, and I think we got that. So on that note, I'm going to get you gentlemen to hold right there, because it's hard to believe we're already through 1 hour on Spaced Out Radio. Ghosts of the Great White North with our main man Merle in the paranormal world, our special guest Richie Bell, paranormal comedian. We're going to get into more ghost stories that we can share with you, because I know you guys love a good ghost story out there in radio land and podcast land and YouTube land. So we're going to try and deliver that when we return for hour number 2. is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott. All right, boys, we got about 5.5 minutes here. I'm just going to play a video.
Sounds good.
Where'd Richie go?
Our merch is Bigfoot approved. We have t-shirts, we have mugs, we have hoodies, we have socks, we have hats, we have stickers, and so much more. Whatever you're looking for, we have you covered. Why just be a fan of the paranormal when you can buy Spaced Out Radio merch and look the part? Our merch ain't ugly, folks. Check out the Spaced Out Radio store. Find the link in the description below.
Lurking within the forested region of the 108-mile ranch, where the worlds of the normal and paranormal collide. CaribouCon is waiting for you, bringing together a panel of renowned experts in the paranormal, cryptid research, and UFO phenomena fields. Get ready for a spine-tingling weekend in the heart of British Columbia. Enjoy fascinating discussions, presentations, tours of local haunted areas, and skywatching. Learn from investigators, authors, and enthusiasts who explore everything from ghost hunting techniques to sightings of Sasquatch and beyond. Whether you're a seasoned paranormal researcher or just love a good spooky story, this is your chance to connect with fellow enthusiasts in one of BC's most mysterious areas. Tickets are on sale now. Grab yours before they're gone. Visit cariboucon.com for details, tickets, and updates.
Are you ready to dive into the weird and wonderful world of cryptids, cartoons, and chaos? Meet Dirty Filth, Spaced Out Radio's resident cartoonist and master of the mysterious. Every Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific, join him live on the Spaced Out Radio YouTube channel for Cryptid Cartoons with Dirty Filth, a hilarious hour where he sketches bizarre beasts, shares mind-bending stories, and battles his mischievous cats. Whether you're a UFO enthusiast, paranormal fan, or just love quirky art, Dirty Filth filters the universe through his unique lens, creating cartoons that capture the strange, dark, and supernatural. Follow Dirty Filth on X at Filth1 or Facebook at Dear Filth for more filthy fun. Find his link in the description below.
Spaced Out Radio wants to hear from you. We love our community, and your voice truly matters. Drop a comment after every show and let us know what you thought. Agree with our guests? Tell us why. Disagree? We want to hear that too. We read every single comment. Jump into the live chat during the broadcast and be part of the conversation in real time. Got a killer topic idea? Your suggestions help shape the show. And if you want to take it even further, join our Patreon for bonus content and direct feedback opportunities with Dave and the team. This is your show as much as it is ours. Whether you're a longtime listener or brand new, we want your thoughts, your questions, and your ideas. And let's keep building this incredible community together. Spaced Out Radio, where the conversation never ends. What are you waiting for? We're listening.
With 5 explorable Gold Rush-era buildings said to be home to spirits of a time forgotten, the 108-mile heritage site in the heart of BC's Caribou region offers a unique opportunity for thrill seekers and history buffs. For an evening of historical fun, step into our guided ghost tours, where spine-chilling stories of gold rush legends and unexplained encounters come alive. For those craving even more, inquire with us about conducting a hands-on paranormal investigation of your own. And if you're truly brave, book our haunted sleepovers. Spend the night at our B&B inside the McNeil House to truly experience this historical landmark and its ghostly secrets firsthand. For booking or inquiries, go to haunted108.com.
All right, let's bring in Richie again. There we go. Merle, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Dave. How are you? Are we already back on? Those are good ads. Strong. I like that you do that.
Yeah, that was good. That was visually beautiful.
Did you like Manny, Mel, or Merle Holtra?
I did. I like the theme. I like the relaunch theme. Is this my relaunch? This is good. I like it.
Mm-hmm. That's what we do around here. That's what we do. We're coming back in 5 seconds, guys.
Copy.
We are into the second hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hi to all of you listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network, our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Chilgoza. Chilgoza is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam says the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. From the Paranormal Road Trippers based out of Langley, British Columbia, our main man, Merle, is here to talk some paranormal stories with our special guest, paranormal comedian Richie Bell. Thanks, guys, for coming on in. Really do appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
No problem. No problem. When we talk about scary ghost encounters, okay, many people have a divine fear of, like you told us earlier about being pinned down in a bed, like with an old hag type syndrome going on. I've talked about being attacked before. How often does this really happen in the paranormal world, Merle?
It's funny you actually bring that up, Dave, because I was going to bring something similar up. That's a hard question because attacks and old hags of possessions, I think, are a lotto ticket. I don't think it happens as much as I think there's some showmanship sometimes. I actually just released a video of me investigating the Washoe Club. I released it today, but this just ties into the story at the end of my video where I talk about I'm in the Washoe Club with one other dude, and we're investigating there for 12 hours straight. And I've watched all the Washoe Club videos. I've done all the research. And people have had really crazy experiences there, seeing apparitions, being attacked, seeing dark entities, all of the bells and whistles of like a paranormal show. And I'm there apprehensive because I'm like, oh, dude, it's just the two of us in here. I'm a little scared. But it was your standard investigation. We had some footsteps. We had some really good EVPs. But nothing crazy or actually scary bad happened. There was a great investigation. We obtained a lot of evidence. However, there was no attacks. There was no dark entities. There was no lurking. I got told to F off in an EVP, which was kind of cool. But I don't know, Dave. I don't think it happens that much. I think I think sometimes people will look for it or encourage it. Because I know if you put it out there, it could happen. But for the average daily driver investigator, I don't think it's often. What do you think?
Richie, your opinion?
Yeah, it feels like it's very few and far between. I mean, I obviously don't have 20 years in the game like like Ryan Merlstrom does, but but I will say, like, going in, like, there's still that part of your brain. I think because I'm still so new to it, where I feel like I'm walking into a horror movie, only like weirdly enough, like to slowly be let down, because it's just like it's manageable interactions that you get, as opposed to you turn the door and then there's a ghoulish face appearing in the mirror pointing at you. So I think there's only been like a couple out of a few hundred pieces of information that have been truly frightening.
A good point, though, Richie. You bring up a good point, because a lot of people who take in paranormal tours or ghost walks, they expect, like, I get asked this question all the time when we do ghost tours. You know, are there people hiding behind walls or in closets? Like, people are expecting some sort of carnival ride.
Always.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, if you go to, you know, some sort of carnival or Disneyland or some sort of exhibition, they expect, you know, there to be some sort of, you know, guy with a chainsaw to chase you down, to kind of give you that freak factor. They don't really understand going in that we're not dealing with, you know, playtime here. We're actually dealing with real spirits and entities that we have zero control over.
I feel like there's like also like a subconscious hint of like hope for the person, that there's somebody behind the wall with a chainsaw, because I think a lot of people who haven't had an experience, because there is something, I'm sure you guys have both had periods of your life where you didn't believe in ghosts, and then something happened where you're like, okay, I for sure know there's ghosts. There's a change in the mentality of not knowing that there's something after you pass away, versus I know for sure, based off what I've experienced, there's got to be something. So I think that for a lot of us, when we go into like those haunted walks around towns or like the tour, we hope that there's like a gag so we can like convince ourselves, okay, there's still no such thing as ghosts. That comfortable, because we're so terrified of that idea, that comfortable, there's no such thing as ghosts. There was a guy behind a closet. This whole thing was a prank. Ha ha ha. It's just a genre thing. But I feel like there's always that little bit of just unrequited hope that it's not going to prove that there's an afterlife, because what a wild thing to pay however much it is to take the tour and then get absolute certainty, like, oh yeah, no, so when I die, something else happens. All right, cool. This was worth the detour.
Merle, do you get that when you do your tours in Powell River or in the canyon there?
I do. I get that a lot. I get a lot of ladies coming with their boyfriends that think the ghost hunt is absolutely ridiculous, and the ladies want the experience. And then the feather in the cap is when the couple leaves at the end of the night and the guy's actually scared. That's when you know you did a good job. But no, a lot of times you will get people coming to the tours expecting to see scary things. In one sentence, they'll be like, oh, is someone going to get possessed? And then in the next breath, I'll be like, well, I don't want to have any activity. I just wanted to be here for the tour. And one thing I tell people when I do my tours or events is, and I even told this to Richie before we did the Bailey House, when things get real, they get real right quick. And you got to be ready for it. 7 out of 10 paranormal investigations will be quiet. They'll be routine. You'll get a little bit of EVP, maybe some knocks, but there will be those 3 investigations where somebody could get touched, somebody can hear an audible noise that's not EVP, like out of like the naked ear, or you can see a full body apparition, or even people can get I don't like the word possessed, influenced. And when that happens, your body or your mind is not trained to know what to do, because that's not an everyday occurrence. And it's hard to manage when people who aren't investigators experience that because they're worried things will follow them home. A lot of people, when I do my tours, and I know with your tours, Dave, people are worried that they're going to get followed home by a ghost. And it's kind of the disclaimer you give at the beginning of tours. Things get real, they get real quick. But you also run the risk of having a visitor with you, but you can give people the tools to hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yeah, we always tell our people at the end of the night or at the beginning of the tour, when we gather them all together, we will say to them, if you at the end of the night are not feeling the exact same way you are right now, whether you start feeling sick, you start feeling angry, you start feeling cautious, you start, feeling dizzy or whatever type of emotion or physical deterrent that leads you to feel different than you are now, we got to A, get you out of the building right off the bat, and B, we also have to, maybe smudge you at the end of the night, okay, to make sure that you're not taking anything home because, no offense, I want my spirits to stay there. I don't want them going elsewhere and, maybe causing some sort of scene at somebody's house. I don't care how friendly they are or how angry they are. But you want to make sure of that. So I think it's an eye-opener for a lot of people out there on really what is going on and what could possibly be real. Let's go to Hillbilly Herb here in our chat room on YouTube. Herb is asking, why do you think they do that, Dave? Hit you with a whammy, example, paranormal sickness, dry heaves. What is the purpose? I think it's because they don't want you there. Maybe they don't know. Maybe they're angry that, they're not on your side of the, what would I call that? Of the veil or whatever the terminology is. And I think that, when they know that somebody is sensitive to their being on the other side or the energies that are produced, I think that they kind of try to flex their muscles, so to speak. What do you think, Merle?
I agree. I think it's a flex. I think it's a not so gentle reminder of what you're dealing with and the powers that they possess. I think that they give you a bit of a paranormal gut punch to take your energy. Some of them, they need energy to speak. That's why some ghost hunters will use EM pumps, an EM pump, electromagnetic. It's like a magnet, essentially, that emits energy, and they say that spirits can draw from them. But the best type of EM pump, air quotes, is a human, because we have energy, lots of it, and we have the closest associated energy to a spirit that they could take from us. And I think that's what happens a lot of the times, especially when you see psychics helping people that have been taken or influenced by a spirit, is they're gassed at the end. Like, Dave, I've seen you be gassed by a spirit many times, and I've had it. And same with, like, when Richie was talking about getting influenced at the Bailey house, you weren't the same after. You weren't for that day or that night. You were kind of quieter. It's kind of like a reality check. It is for me every time it's happened to me. It reminds me of what I'm doing and how dangerous it can be.
Do you think people take that seriously enough that paranormal ghost hunting, Richie, can be dangerous?
Honestly, I don't think a lot of people give me much thought regardless. But it is something like that, depending on what's in there. If, just like with people, you can't control how they're going to take a joke. So, but I will say, what spirits have above people is spirits will tell you right away when they don't like something. They won't go home and type about it. They won't be backdoor bashful trying to say they didn't much care for that joke. They'll let you know right away, to a point where it's pretty hard to ignore. But we might make them sick. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know. Like, it might be every time we walk in a room trying to look for them, like, we don't know if we're making them sick. So maybe they're just trying to even Stevens.
You bring up a good point there, Richie, because One of the things that I incorporated into our ghost tour at the 108 Mile Heritage Site through Haunted 108 was this. When I first got into this, and I got into it on the paranormal side by literally learning from Merle. He's been my teacher through this entire process, as sad as that sounds, right? And, one of the big things that I have noticed in my own attitude was I don't know anymore what is a ghost. I always used to think it was a deceased human whose spirit has stuck around, but I really don't know now because I've had things happen where it really makes me wonder whether or not there are spirits or it's a combination of us actually invading their timeline and we're the ghost to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, timeline talk. Yeah, I mean, the fun part is we don't know. And it's been something that has been taken so unseriously in the scientific community. Like, we're no closer to knowing except for a handful of like engineers who are like, no, let's practically find tools to see if we can detect something beyond what we can normally perceive. So, but that's, we don't know. We don't know what aliens are. We don't know. I think like Ogopogo might be real. Well, like, we don't know, but we're these beings that walk around like we do, which is wildly frustrating sometimes.
Richie, I'm still grasping on to what you said a few minutes ago of, do we affect or hurt the spirits? And I've up until now, I've never really thought of it like that. And that's, talk about mind blown. Well done.
Hey.
But it's true though. Like you go to some locations that are notably haunted. Does your energy reek of negativity? Does it not jive with the spirits? Because like Dave could go into haunted house A and have all hell break loose, and I could go into haunted house A and it'd be crickets and I have a good sleep. Whereas I'll go into haunted house C and it goes crazy for me, and then Dave goes in and nothing. I often wonder if we take their energy away too, because I guarantee you it takes a lot of energy to talk to us for them.
Yeah, like exactly. Like it's just like when you're meeting new people. Like everyone has and I think that's what's so interesting about the entire field of paranormal investigation is because you're trying to talk to what you think, like, best case scenario is an invisible dead person. And there could be any shade, like just like when Homo sapiens were coming up, there was a different, like there was like 27 or something like that, different bipedal primates walking around. What if there's like different echelons of ghost? So you got like your really nasty ones to like your regular ones. We don't know, but I can't stop thinking about the timeline thing. Like you're saying, like if it's like the 1700s and we're just busting through someone's dining room without knowing it, and they're just trying to fight us out of there. I kind of hope that's what it is.
Well, I'll tell you where I had that opinion was in 2018 when Merle was down investigating at the museum. I was taking people on a ghost tour along the original Gold Rush Trail, and we came across. Okay, well, there's 9 people there, and every one of those 9 people has a K2 meter. There's no power lines. There's no any type of electronic distortion in that area that is going to set off those meters. And all 9 of them start going off. And through yes and no questions, we were able to decipher that it was a Chinese couple that had just come to Canada. They were heading up to the Barkerville they had a large Chinese community in the town of Barkerville back then. So for our American listeners, Barkerville at that time would have been the equivalent of Virginia City, except without the casinos, even though they were gambling, playing poker and cards and all that kind of shenanigans there at that time. Now, during that time, when we concluded our questioning with him. We all said thank you, goodbye, we'll allow you to go back on your trip. Well, we were standing there on the path, and all of the meters are still going off. And I started wondering why. So I decided to take my meter, and I walked down the path about 20, 30 feet, because I realized at that moment on my hunch that that husband and wife couple who came over from China to hopefully find some gold and get their riches, they would have had a horse or two, and they would have bought a carriage or a buggy to go along, or a wagon to go along with their horses. And as I walked down the path, the meter kept going off until I got to the end. The meter stopped. But when I moved back a few feet, the meter was back on. And I walked back to the people and I said, hey, we got to part the ways. They can't move because they have their horse and carriage with them too. And we got to get out of the way. So half the people went on one side of the path. The rest of us went on the other side of the path. And you could actually see the meters stopping as that horse and carriage, even though we couldn't see it, was moving along the path down towards where it was going on the trail. And that, to this day, still blows my mind 8 years later.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's wild. That's, because that's an intelligent communication.
Yes.
So Lord knows what this timeline is seeing. Like the audacity of, we might be the timeline that's going into other timelines accusing them of being ghosts, like really being like real tourists about it. Because every time they come into us on our timeline, we're like, all right, if you're a spirit, knock 3 times. They're like, dude, we're just trying to get to Barkerville. Can you get out of the path? Like, that's wild.
Sounds, that's pretty much the truth of the matter.
Yeah, that's wicked. So it would have been like, I guess, like a steady reading, which would have been like a horse and carriage length, and then when you guys moved, having that kind of meet you and then pass you.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
So cool.
Yeah, it's very cool in regards to that. Let's get to another question here. Have you been tossed across a room by a spirit, Merle and Richie?
No. But I have been choked by one, right on my neck. And it's kind of a weird story, but it is what it is. This is the Bailey house that we were talking about earlier, where Richie kind of turned. This was about 7 years before this. And I was with the same group of investigators that I was with Richie. And I was asking questions maybe a little too authoritative, and they didn't like it. And the psychic medium, she was like, Mike, or Merle, I don't think they like your questioning. I wasn't being disrespectful. I was just trying to get answers, and here we are. And then all of a sudden the room felt kind of like humid thick, and I felt an ice cold hand on my throat and kind of squeeze for about 1 to 2 seconds and then let go. And I tucked tail and ran out of this house so quick. I went and puked in the bush outside because my nerves were shot after that. And I rethought about even paranormal investigating for a good month or 2 months after that. If it's actually something I really want to do, because it scared me so bad. So
it is a scary instance. Guys, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. We will continue the conversation. Paranormal talk with our main man, Merle, from the Paranormal Road Trippers. And, of course, our special guest tonight, Richie Bell. He is known as the paranormal comedian. Both are based out of Vancouver, British Columbia. And they're not afraid to investigate anywhere. Why not? We'll find out about the fear of ghost hunting and more ghost stories when we return for the second half of Spaced Out Radio. We got a lot coming up, so sit back, relax. We got this. You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott. All right. We had some good activity out at Flight 21 on the weekend.
Oh, do tell.
Well,
no, I think Richie did not mute.
I'll mute. When we were setting up the trail cams, I heard a woman's. We were in behind the crash site, and kind of where the tree knock and the poop were.
Yeah.
And I put a trail cam up by a tree. I found this big stick, man. It looks like a club, and I leaned that against a tree, and I put a trail camera there because now I want to see if we could maybe lure them to try and knock the tree.
Mm-hmm.
And way off in the distance at the crash site, I heard a woman kind of go, "Yeehaw," like that. "Yeehaw." And I'm like, or yeah, or something like it was weird. And so we heard her, and then Mike heard the mumbling voices again that you guys heard. So that was kind of weird. So it's starting to heat up again.
Have you been chased out at all, or like kind of experienced the more intense stuff?
Excuse me. I haven't been chased out since. I think that's because you're not there. And I mean that with all due respect. But then again, we kind of got a deal there where we have it. Even when Tim was investigating with me, we didn't push them, if you know what I'm saying. We were, when we got that feeling, it didn't matter whether we were there an hour or whether we were there 4 hours. We never really pushed it. Like when they said it was time to leave, we left. If we were out by the gifting site and we got the feeling that it was, time to move back to the vehicle, all of a sudden you'd get like this telepathic message in your head. Okay, boys, it's time to move back to your vehicle.
Yeah.
Okay. And we would abide by that. And so I think because there has been that modicum of respect that we have kind of showed them, that they give us that leeway in doing what we need to do. So I don't know what it is, but but we abide by it.
Yeah.
That's what we go by. But it is starting to heat up again, which is really cool. It's like it's awakening, and it's getting real exciting. You just get, we're at that point again where we're just waiting for something to break.
Yeah.
That's where we are right now. We're just waiting for something to break open. And I think we're bound for some very exciting times coming up here, to be blunt.
Cool.
Yeah.
I missed that place. I got to come up there.
Yeah. We'll talk about that tomorrow.
Cool.
Yeah. Works for me, buddy. I would love to have you up. That way you can meet my new team too.
Yeah.
Put together. I think you'll enjoy them. All right, we got about 30 seconds here. Cool Arrow, how you doing? Trace B, how you doing? Honest Content, nice to see you. Tokeland, good to have you here. All right, we're coming back in 5 seconds, guys. We're into the second half of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for tuning us on in as we continue with our main man, Merle, and our special guest tonight, Richie Bell, the paranormal comedian, as he has his on his name tag right there. So before we get to them, we want to remind all of you that if you get missed portions of this show or others, our archives are always free on YouTube or any major podcast network. So make sure you hit subscribe, follow, whatever it may be. We just want you to like us. We do. We're likable people here. Merle, good to have you here until the top of the hour. Richie, thank you for joining in as well. Right before the break, we were kind of talking about, spirits. They can attack. You never know what their mood is, Merle. What do you think causes a spirit to attack?
Just be Merle and walk into a haunted place and you get attacked. I think energy and intent is what happens. I don't think they like. I don't know. Sometimes I just think they're like people. Sometimes they just don't like you. For one, two, you don't say your intent on what you're doing. Three, you come off as disrespectful. Or four, you're just not following investigative protocol. Like you're antagonizing, being a bit of a dummy to the ghosts and not being very nice. I think that'll get you attacked right quick.
Richie, have you ever been attacked?
Besides that one time with Merle, no, not really. Like any of the most of the ghost comics that I did solo, we never really got attacked. There was one when we were at Tranquil up in Kamloops there, where we were given a pretty loud bang in response to, if you want us to go, make a loud bang. So that was pretty cut and dry. But no, I've never been like, I wouldn't say like scratched or really anything like that.
You feel fortunate?
You know what's weird? Like in a sense, no. Like in a sense, you kind of, because I feel like physical evidence like that is so concrete that anyone trying to justify it away, you know for certain that they're grasping at straws. I think there's some evidence that's always going to be up in the air, up for debate. But if you get scratched out of nowhere, or you have like for a better term, like a wound, and there's no direct source, I think first of all, it's like there's got to be a part of your brain that's weirdly comforted to be like, okay, I've been right. Like, I'm right. There's something after you die. Yeah, I feel like semi unfortunate that it hasn't happened. But I'm sure with some of the places we go and some of the jokes that we tell, I'm sure there's a heckler out there that'll give me my first experience.
I gotta ask you, I'd be stupid not to. Richie, when you do your comedy skit in a haunted location, what's the weirdest response you have got from a spirit or ghost?
I mean, honestly, I think it's very similar to like investigating, because when I was doing ghost comic, we didn't have a lot of like actual ghost hunting gear or paranormal investigative gear. So it was very much like we were very hoping to get something on either camera or raw audio. For our Kamloops one, the closest I got a wheeze. I got a wheeze in response to, honestly, a joke that deserved a wheeze. But we got it was either that or a groan. They chose a wheeze. But that's about the closest I've got. A lot of it, any evidence that we may be caught wasn't caught on like the sufficient instruments to be able to even look at it. So unfortunately, a lot of it we had to, not really look at as seriously as we would if it was from an investigative instrument.
Did you find that 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 how did let me rephrase. How did the energy go about changing when you brought humor into the concept of ghost hunting?
It's interesting because we did kind of touch upon it earlier, but having that like almost the reverse of the we'll call it like a dead room, when it's like nothing happening, and then the feeling of just like occupancy. Does that make sense? To say like it just feels occupied. I've had experiences where it's instead of going from occupied to silent, you can almost feel it becoming occupied. Like it is something that it's a concept that something or someone or some being is like comprehending and is intrigued by. But I've also had at the Pink Palace, we've had a cold spot follow us all night. So I think that there's something intrinsically human about it that
what do you mean
could
by
be a bit of a draw. We had to kind of, I guess, like similar to how you had that kind of that carriage experience where like the length of the recording kind of showed the size. This one we didn't have anything to record it, but it was a cold spot in the middle of like the hallway that was maybe like two hands side by side wide. And at that point, just that moment was freezing cold. Outside of it was fine, and it was following us from room to room. Like you could feel it coming in, which was it's something like I wish we had more than just like 2 DSLR cameras with fake night vision mode. It's like because it was you could feel it like a foot ahead of it when it came in. It was just this wafting, like opening a fridge door. It was absolutely wild.
Based on the history of that hotel, you could have had some bouncers or enforcers type people following you.
It could have been because we were kind of
through the hotel.
We were dressed in silly costumes, doing. I guess like the important thing is like we're not doing jokes at the ghosts; we're doing jokes for the ghosts. So I'm sure that if it was an establishment of organized crime and there's someone going room to room performing, a bouncer's going to get called to be like, "Hey, get this guy out of here. He's bothering our clients."
Now, from Richie then to like investigating now, would that be something you would like want to like if that happened to you tomorrow? Say we were investigating a place together and we kept getting followed by something cold. Because you would that be something you'd want to lock in on and try and figure out what's going on?
Oh yeah, because like there's so many ways. Like, are they coming because they're interested in what they're hearing, or do they have something to say? Is this like a like that guy behind every bar who's got that street joke that they're just waiting to tell? I guess it's like and having tools to actually be able to record and quantify it. You'd almost have to like it would if there was like a gambit going, like for trying to set up like a specific shot or something like that, and you have like a cold spot falling. You have to switch the shot to what is this.
Let's talk about close encounters. Okay, close encounters with spirits. You never know what you're going to get. You could be in a haunted museum that has something completely different actually go on. Merle, do you have any encounters that just didn't make sense?
Oh, yeah, I do. So this was at a place called O'Keefe's Ranch in a town called Vernon, British Columbia. And O'Keefe's Ranch was Western Canada and Western United States back in the days, biggest cattle ranch. They would do cattle drives up from Montana and all that, all the way up to Vernon. And those cattle would be used in the mines in the gold rush areas. But anyhow, this was my first ever big time museum investigation. And the team I was with have all been there. They were all seasoned investigators. They were all really pumping the tires up on this location. And me being young, a bit arrogant, owning it, and thinking whatever. They're like, no, Mike, you go in first and see what happens. And I'm sure the ghosts will let you know they're there. I'm like, no, it's just a house. And at this point in my little paranormal life, I was into the ghost hunting, but I was more in my come at me, bro era. We all go through it. I'm just owning it. And so I go into the ranch, into the house, and they're waiting. So you go up 4 steps, and you go in, and they were waiting at the bottom. They didn't come up the steps. I go in the house, and the door slammed behind me. I'm like, well, whatever. It could be the wind. Like every horror movie must have been the wind. And Dave, the door locked.
No.
And the only way that because there was an old skeleton key. So there's a normal modern day padlock like on it. But then there was an old timey skeleton key lock. And that's the one that just went click. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't have that key, nor do they. And then that's when the panic and the reality check sets in. I'm like, okay, tough guy in my head. Not so tough because I'm cowering, essentially. And then so you enter this late 1800s cow ranch, and then there's stairs immediately going upstairs in front of the entrance, and then a hallway to where all the bedrooms were, and it's all wooden floors, like original. And all of a sudden, I just hear stomp, 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 stomp coming down the hallway, and I'm like, well, I've just met my maker. That's what I'm thinking in my head. And then I hear them coming down the first set of stairs, and then it stops. And then, like we were talking about earlier, the energy got lighter. And then the door unlocked and opened. And then the investigator at the time looks at me and he goes, I told you they'd let you know they're here. And I could not explain any of that. Any of those close encounters. That would have been a close encounter, Dave. I had no clue what was happening at that time. And how to even... There was no smoke and mirrors. It wasn't a haunted house. This was all actual stuff happening. And thinking about it and talking about it with you guys right now, that's probably one of my coolest stories. And I can't explain it, especially the door locking like that, like actually locking and then unlocking, and to just that giant steps upstairs coming towards me. That would be my greatest close encounter.
Richie, how about for you?
I think my greatest close encounter was in Tranquil. It was in one of the houses. We were filming this movie up there, so we had access to like pretty much the entire property. So we had walked off. There was, I think his name was like Dr. Ellison or something like that. He had a house in this tuberculosis sanatorium, and it was me. And actually, the first video of Ghost Comic took place the night after this, because we did a walkthrough, not even thinking about recording. We were like, let's just go see if it's actually haunted. So we're walking through the house. We get to the top floor. There wasn't really anything. There was definitely a heavy feeling throughout the house. But we get to the top floor, and my buddy that's with me points to one of the doors that's closed. And because like unfortunately, like with a lot of these historic places, like they just get vandalized, and there's always people coming in and out of them. So like doors were wide open in this place, spray paint everywhere, except there's one door in the back of the house that was closed. And the second he pointed it out, he goes, that's the only door in here that's closed. You could hear the doorknob turn, and then the door opened like about, like 6 or 8 inches as if someone's like peeking their head out. We later found out that was his office. I think it was Dr. Ellison. That was his office. So he opens the door, and then we hear a couple of footsteps out as the door closes. It's also the same area that we got the loud bang the next night in the video when we asked, if he wants to leave, make a loud bang. So that's about as close as it's gotten for me that I was not influenced by, so I can actually remember.
My goodness. That is trippy. I think for me, I would say, because I don't do a lot of paranormal investigation, and Merle knows I've never called myself a researcher. I'm more of an enthusiast of this incredible phenomenon. I'm an experiencer and enthusiast of it all. But I would say our location at Flight 21, it is something where you can never prepare for what's going to happen.
Agreed.
That is the biggest problem that we have there. Is you can sit there and think, okay, I'm going to try and talk to Sasquatch today and lure the Sasquatch in. And then all of a sudden you check your audio and there's voices of humans on there, or you expect to, connect with the spirits, connect with the Sasquatch, and all of a sudden there's UFOs around and landing and aliens on the ground. I mean,
you got the trifecta in your backyard? What?
Richie, I wish I was BSing. I wish I was.
Is it like? What's the most like if you were out? Well, weird question to ask, but like you're out in the woods. Is it called the Flight 22? Flight 21?
Flight 21.
Flight 21. You're at Flight 21. You hear something in the woods. You turn your camera. Are you preferring a ghost, Bigfoot, or a UFO?
I want Bigfoot.
That's a good question.
Bigfoot, right? Everyone wants Bigfoot. Like that one feels so attainable. If there was like a dedicated pool of money, like I feel like that one feels the most. We should know if that one's real. That we're saying that one's a giant ape-like creature that lives in the woods. That one feels more attainable than ghosts and UFO. So that's a great answer, but that's wild that you have all those in one spot.
Richie, it's a wild spot. I've been there multiple times.
Is it like on a ley line or something? Like what's in the water there that just everything's here?
We've been chased out of there. I've seen a spirit there. I've heard them there. We've seen that. There's a lot of
aliens there.
There's a lot of yeah.
Like you saw UFOs or you saw aliens?
I saw the UFO on the ground. 6 others, including Merle, did not. They saw aliens walking through the trees. I did not.
Woof. What a night, boys.
We also got two Bigfoot prints there, tracks, like actual.
Oh, like actually casted tracks?
We have them on film. We didn't cast them because we didn't have the stuff with us. But no, like you could see the footprint, 100%.
Oh, that's wicked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a cool couple spots you have.
Yeah. You cannot cast in that location because the ground is so hard.
Makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
The footprints aren't embedded in,
Gotcha. So, hard earth. Yeah, it's hard. You'd have to be like 3 times an elephant size to make a mark in it.
Yeah.
So you've got like you collect paranormal activity. Are you enthused after paranormal activity the same way some people like enthuse about having a bunch of sports cars? Like some people are like, just one's fine. You're like, no, I want several. And I want 2 garages. Multiple different in there.
It's a really weird spot, man. It's I know Dave and I talk about it often, but it deserves to be talked about often, the amount of things that happen there. It's kind of like Skinwalker Ranch to the north. You just don't know what's happening up there. There's so much activity. Like what's the term we used before, Dave? Liminal.
It's like a smorgasbord.
Smorgasbord of paranormal stuff.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it. Like, good Lord.
But no, like there's a whole plane crash. Like there's the fuselage, there's the cabin. Like it's a plane crash. Like it's
it's an actual plane crash in the woods.
yeah. So
Oh, okay. All right, well, I mean, okay, that explains the ghosts, and like if the UFOs did it, maybe there's like a guilt aspect there where they're just like checking in. That's nuts. That's so cool.
It's an interesting place, and my only fear of it all isn't so much what is there; it's the fear of. Well, there's two fears. Number one, the wild animals in the area. That's the big one.
Yeah.
Merle and I have battled many times about going in prepared with pointy sticks that go bang. Merle doesn't like it. And I'm like, I'm not doing it because I'm not grizzly bear food. I'm not black bear food. I'm not about to be attacked by a moose. I'm not about to be attacked by a wolf pack or a mountain lion or a lynx. I don't want that. There's signs of it all over the place. Right. And at that point, it becomes more safety first than it is about the actual investigation.
Yeah. You'd have to go in with pretty big numbers to do that safely, just to make sure there's enough light and sound.
Yeah, and where you are, there is no cell phone service. There's not even radio signal in there. Like you could sit there all day long playing on the radio dial. You wouldn't get a single radio station.
Well, not a spot you want to be attacked by any of those number of creatures.
Well, exactly. The other thing
that would suck.
The other thing that fears me about it is even though I live in the middle of nowhere, eventually there will be, and I hate to say this because I don't want to sound greedy on the location, but I'm very protective of the location. Eventually there will be other people who go up there to investigate. And my fear is they will not understand the respect that the phenomena actually has there. And
yeah.
I don't know if they'll get anything. I don't know if they'll ruin it or not. And I just hope that doesn't happen.
Well, and there's also the risk too of like the inexperienced side with the wildlife. Like if that's at the forefront of your mind and that's something that should be worried about, if they go in with just their hiking stuff for an overnight paranormal investigation and then a bunch of red eyes show up in the woods, like that's someone's going to be like, well, they wouldn't have been there if they heard about it on Spaced Out Radio. You don't want to advertise it too loud.
No, we did a camp there, Richie. We stayed the night up there. It was pretty wild. I enjoyed it. And I want to go back up there this summer. ASAP, Dave.
ASAP, the old ASAP. Merle, tell everybody where they can find the Paranormal Road Trippers.
You can find the Paranormal Road Trippers at theparanormalroadtrippers.com. You can find Instagram, the Paranormal Road Trippers. YouTube just dropped 2 videos in the last 2 weeks, Paranormal Road Trippers. And Facebook, the Paranormal Road Trippers.
And Richie, where can people find you?
I'm a little simpler than that. I'm just on Instagram at Richie Bell Comedy. Soon, actually, we'll use our last few seconds. Soon, we're going to be actually working on a project together, myself and Merle. It's going to be a mix of paranormal investigation, a little bit of ghost comedy in there. Working title right now is called The Laughter Life. So keep your eyes peeled for that.
Merle, Richie, thank you for coming back. Merle, we'll talk to you next month. And Swamp Dweller and Terry Hall with the Weird News of the Week are next.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right, Merle, I'll give you a call in the morning. And we got things going. Richie, it's good to chat with you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was fun.
No problem. No problem.
This is a great time.
Merle
get on
Drick
flight
Sedin.
21. Yeah,
Merle
I like
Drick
it.
Sedin. Later, boys.
Ciao.
Later, guys.
Stop now! You're under arrest! Hands up! Don't move!
Don't get caught without your spaced out radio merchandise. We have t-shirts, mugs, hoodies, socks, hats, stickers, and so much more. Whatever you're looking for, we have you covered. Why just be a fan of the paranormal when you can look the part? We don't have ugly merch, folks. Check out the Spaced Out Radio store. Find the link in the description below.
Dirty filth. Dirty filth. Dirty filth.
Object is heading north 045 degrees. It's definitely not a plane. It seems to be tethered to something. Is that a banner, Joe? Caribou Con. Does anyone know what Caribou Con is?
Caribou Con, one of the BC Caribou region's best-kept secrets. Until now. Join our panel of renowned paranormal experts for a weekend of fun and intriguing presentations. Go to cariboucon.com to book or inquire now.
Over here. Look at this.
Discover Spaced Out Radio on all your favorite platforms. We're live every single night with the best in UFOs, cryptids, paranormal, and the unexplained. And you can find us on all your favorite platforms. Head over to Instagram for behind the scenes and daily weirdness, TikTok for quick mind-bending clips, Facebook for community discussions, and X for real-time updates and hot takes. Wherever you scroll, Spaced Out Radio is there. So go search Spaced Out Radio on every platform, hit follow, and turn on notifications so you never miss a single episode. The weird is waiting. See you there.
The McNeil House is one of several buildings at the 108-mile heritage site said to be haunted by spirits of a time long forgotten. But would you stay the night? Along with guided ghost tours and paranormal investigations, Haunted 108 is offering a chance to spend the entire night inside the historic McNeil House. by booking one of our B&B style sleepovers, where you can experience the hauntings firsthand, meet the resident ghost cat, and witness unusual activity. If you dare to turn history into a night you'll never forget, book your spot now at haunted108.com. Spots are limited. Will you be brave enough?
All right, let's bring in our good friend Terry Hall coming on in here. And there he is. Terry, your mustache looks beautiful tonight.
Guten Tag. How you doing this evening, Beard of Knowledge?
I am good, mustache of power.
I love it when you have Merle on. Fun, 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 fun.
Merle's always so good.
Yeah, I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got to get up there, come hang out with you guys.
Yeah, you do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Did you have a good one today, boss?
It was all right.
It was all right. It's a hump day, buddy.
I get to work on my day off tomorrow, but at least I get to sleep in. Terry, we're coming back in 3 seconds here. We are now into hour number 3 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Chilgoza. Chilgoza is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio's Swamp. I'm Swamp Dweller, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp. This may seem far-fetched, and you may think it sounds a little crazy, but here goes. I'm not crazy, by the way. There's a lot of context behind this to tell my mentality that what I saw was not a form of sleep paralysis. First time I saw a UFO was 10 years ago. I saw it with my sister. It was triangular and had white lights under each corner. The interaction alone was weird enough, but I don't want to dive too much into it. Essentially, I have had experiences with alien crafts and paranormal things, though you guys should know at first, I didn't believe in these things. I thought they were just weird coincidences. Now back to what happened. Last year, in 2017, sometime in November, I took a trip to a games convention. A group of friends and I rented out a motel room while we were down there for a week. This happened on the first night we were there. I was sleeping in the same bed as my partner at the time. Now, I have had experiences in sleep paralysis my entire life. I don't think anyone could convince me otherwise that what I saw was anything to do with sleep paralysis. I remember obviously sleeping, but I don't remember any dreams. Out of nowhere, I suddenly woke up, but I didn't open my eyes. I had this strange and odd feeling about my surroundings. I knew immediately something wasn't right. Still with my eyes closed, I felt this pressure on the side of my head. I was sleeping on my left side. It was right at my temple, and it felt like someone was pushing their finger onto it. While this was happening, simultaneously I remember answering questions. I don't know what they were, but I was responding and giving answers. It felt as though it was through my subconscious. In my head, I saw this blast of color from a dark void. It looked like gas clouds. Many clouds, actually. Colors of orange, white, and purple. I think those were the colors anyway. It also had stars through it. That alone freaked me out. I couldn't move at this point. and my eyelids were incredibly heavy. As I started to attempt to open my eyes, I could see something standing right next to me. I looked up as much as I could, and to my horror, that's when I saw it. Right next to me, this big black-eyed alien was staring at me. The motel room was dark, but from what I saw, this being had greenish-brown reptile-like skin. It didn't look like a crocodile, but you could tell it was reptilian. It had massive, black almond eyes slanted upwards and had a small head. It didn't exceed too far beyond his eyes. He had this suit on, which was changing colors, almost like he managed to get into some sort of morph suit. Think of kind of like Mystique from the X-Men. Needless to say, I freaked the heck out. My first reaction was to fight it off. I managed to lift my arms as much as I could and started to sluggishly fight it off. I backed away slightly and turned to the left, then proceeded to walk down towards the end of the bed. He was only around 4 feet tall. It felt as if my entire body was vibrating. Not the kind of vibration you get from a PS4 controller. It was like a bass from a car. I felt heavy. My entire body was vibrating, but I still managed to lift myself up from the bed and sit up straight. If I had to put another feeling to it, it felt like I was drugged. Like someone had 2 low speakers on either side of me blasting it, causing me not to be able to move. As I got up to the top to see where the alien went, I backed out, woke up instantly afterwards, feeling rested and still in the same position as I was when I had my interaction with the alien. My boyfriend said he didn't feel or see anything at night, but he believed me. Needless to say, my mentality broke after that. I got into a severe depression, and my anxiety was so bad, I started to contemplate suicide.
Thank you, Swampy, for another creepy story. If you want more just like that, head on over to YouTube, type in Swamp Dweller, hit subscribe, ring that bell. He has thousands of stories that'll creep you out each and every day and night. From the swamp, we now head to the weird, wacky newsroom. Terry Hall and his beautiful mustache are here for the weird news of the week.
Terry Hall's got a mustache, standing by the bowl. Curled up like a question mark, got secrets to be told. When you folks and Bigfoot tracks go so won't behave. He slowed me to the head like a crossing way. Here's news of the week, yes, strange and it's wild. For the answers of the unexplained fall. With Terry Hall and Paul, this is the stack in the sprawl. I'm spaced out many hours, let the very stars touch it all.
Terry Hall, it's always great to have you back on Spaced Out Radio. How you doing, my friend?
Pleasure to be here. Doing wonderful this evening. It's a hump day. The rest of the week is all downhill from here, Dave.
You got that right. You got that right. Did you hear this weird UFO story that was broken by disclosure.org, where the NSA has released, that's the National Security Agency, has released 336 pages of UFO reports?
I have heard about that. I also just got an update earlier today that the Project Blue Book site has also been recently updated. The thing about the Project Blue Book site was they didn't have the handwritten notes included, but apparently now they do. So something new there as well.
Yeah, this is just getting intriguing as we lead up to hopefully what could be the next big drop coming up. I mean, I've heard people say that it could happen as early as Friday. It probably will happen in next week or the week after that, but we could expect more coming up here very, very soon, Terry.
Well, it always seems to be that they do these dumps on a Friday, and that way everybody's gone for the weekend, right? At least everyone on Capitol Hill is gone for the weekend. So we've gotten to the point of this thing now, Dave, that it's kind of hard to tell what's actually coming next. I was just at the UFO festival in McMinnville over the weekend. It's a pretty popular place for people to come. And buddy, all the rumors that were flying around that place, it's kind of hard to keep track of it all anymore.
How come? Why do you think that is?
It just seems like there's so many sources of information free flowing now that it's almost like it's getting boiled down to its essence now. The most important parts of this thing are becoming more and more apparent. And because of that, people are starting to get some pretty far-flung ideas about what might be coming. Anything, I mean, at that UFO festival, Dave, there was everything from the religious side of things, where these are, the demons and all of that, to ancient pre-Adamite civilizations before the Bible, to aliens, interdimensional beings. It's good. It's really hard to keep track of, Dave.
It is getting tough, but do you think there's anybody who really knows the answers to what's going on?
Well, it would be like asking who really runs the world. I mean, we heard of the Rockefellers and all of these other people and these names that are very apparent, but do we really know who's really in power? I mean, some of those Saudi princes are trillionaires. We don't even know what their names are. Right? So if someone out there does happen to know, or it seems to be that some of these briefings that President Trump has denied having, he's actually had. He's pretty well read into this. So plausible deniability is becoming exceedingly thin.
Man. And here we just wait. We're in this wait and see approach right now.
It's like waiting for the ketchup to come out of the bottle, man. The anticipation. It's like, you're killing me, Smalls. Why don't we just... So, Dave, what do you think's really going to happen when this, I mean, how much more can be disclosed?
Well, I think, that's what really needs to be discussed here, is what is really needing to be disclosed. Is it too much to ask to figure out whether or not we're going to get Roswell? I don't think we're going to get Roswell. I don't think we're going to get the president standing in front of the White House, in front of a podium, in front of cameras saying, "My fellow Americans, we are not alone in this universe." I don't think we get that at all. I think that we're going to continue to get basic files of reports of anomalous objects that have been witnessed in the sky, maybe on the ground, or in the water, like the oceans or lakes. I think that is what we are going to get. I don't see us getting anything that is going to be tangible or empirical evidence or proof that we are actually not alone, or that we could decipher whether or not this is our technology or some sort of alien technology that is visiting us. And I really believe that we need to, be very specific. Now, the government is playing the long game on this. They're not interested in giving it up right away. I don't think we get any of these major cases, maybe until you and I are so old and senile, Terry, that we're not going to know the difference anyways. The younger generations, I look at my children, and I have 3 of them. I look at them and I think, well, maybe they'll get the opportunity for the reality. I'm not buying into the whole date that 2027 is going to be the year, or 2030 is going to be the year, or 2036, or what have you. I'm not getting that. That's a personal opinion. That's no inside information. But I think that they want to take it easy for right now, allow the public to get used to it. It's kind of like stepping into a lukewarm bath. I mean, the minute you get in there, it feels cold. Then your body gets used to the temperature, and then you're like, oh, this isn't so bad. It's not so bad at all. I think that's really what it's like.
At the inception of To the Stars Academy, in reading some of the literature, it was made pretty apparent that the reason that Tom DeLonge was trying to push this was to get the stigma away from the government, to keep them from being the bad guy. That's where the whole stigma comes from. This is from classified materials, and we're being misdirected on the whole tinfoil hat thing. It's a farmer that sees something. Well, I tell you what, being a farmer, I know every square inch of my property out there. I have walked every inch of it, and I can guarantee you this. If I saw something out there that was unusual, I would rather trust my word. Somebody who has walked that land, 18,000 steps to mow my lawn. I've counted it 1,000,000 times. I've stepped on every inch of it. So the whole, it was farmers or drunkards or bar revelers. I mean, even Neil deGrasse Tyson, after all the years of the tinfoil hat talk, the man has a book out now about your first encounter with an alien and what you're supposed to do. So until we can get rid of the government's being a bad guy for keeping all this stuff a secret, Roswell, the Aztec crash prior to it, the crash in Germany in 1933. And even prior to that, 1927 is the earliest recorded one that I could find. Until that stigma is washed away that the government is a bad guy for keeping this information classified, then we're never going to get the kind of disclosure that we've hoped for. Right?
Very true.
Because
Very
government distrust is growing more and more apparent as these administrations keep going on, and they're not doing anything seemingly good for us any longer. It just doesn't feel that way. And by coming straight out and saying Roswell was real, we had to lie about it because of X, just leaves that stigma there, leaves them the bad guy. There's no bonus for the government coming out and saying we've been the bad guy for 80 years. It's not going to happen.
Well, people also have to figure out what they want in disclosure.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other big one there too, is people don't know what they want. They think, many even in the UFO world think what we're getting now is disclosure. They're telling us that the files are real. Yeah, they're telling us the files are real. Okay, that's great. That's great. Where's the alien bodies you've been bragging about? Where's
Dave,
the crash retrievals you've been bragging about?
I've never been really interested in the biologics and the bodies and stuff. I'm always the secondary question. Okay, great. They're here. How the heck did they get here? And what powered their craft? What was the power source for it? If it is really 0 point energy, or what we call 0 point energy, well, that's the thing I want out of the UFO. I could care less if you give me an alien ashtray. I want something that's going to power my car, that's going to power my house, that's going to keep us from putting windmills all over planet Earth and sucking the planet dry. I mean, one of the FBI files that they released, and by the way, there was a big dump of FBI files as well. One of them was a man who was supposedly, this was back in, I think it was 51 or 52, that had actual contact. And he said the same thing that people are saying today, that the aliens came and told them that our technology was messed up, that we're killing this planet, and they're going to have to do something eventually to step in and fix it. Now, whether that's going to happen in 2027, 2030, if that's why the government's finally coming out and saying, hey, these things are real, here's the records to prove it, that remains to be seen.
This is Terry Hall with the weird news of the week. We're going to get into that right now. Terry, I got a good story for you.
Okay.
Because I didn't realize that in Indiana there were Tim Hortons. And you
really?
know Tim Hortons.
Yeah.
Well, get this. It's kind of a sad story. The Fort Wayne Police Department is investigating after an elderly woman passed away following a fight over an order at Tim Hortons. The department conducted a death investigation after responding to a reported battery involving a 75-year-old woman and a 20-year-old worker at Tim Hortons. Yeah, what happened here? From the investigation, detectives learned that Anita Grayson, who is 75, had entered the restaurant to address an issue with her orders she got in the drive-thru. When she went inside, police say she began berating a 17-year-old female employee. That's when a 20-year-old shift lead stepped in and told the woman to leave. According to a release by the PD, the shift lead put her hands on Grayson to stop her from reaching the other employee. Shortly after, the police said Grayson shoved the shift lead backwards and struck her face. Just moments later, the security footage shows the altercation continued with the two on the floor. Police say the shift lead was left with scratches and a chunk of hair pulled from her head. In the video, you can see the shift lead's hair fall out of Grayson's hand. No arrests have been made in the incident, and police said Grayson's cause of death has not yet been determined. The Fort Wayne PD recognizes that any loss of life is tragic when the circumstances surrounding a death are not immediately clear. Those circumstances must be thoroughly and professionally investigated. In a release, the police department included security footage it obtained during the investigation. So, bad donuts, bad Timbits, not enough ice in the ice cap. This lady went back, and unfortunately, this happened.
Little Timmy Senor told me that when he came up to visit you, that he had the pleasure you took him to mighty Tim Hortons. But he did tell me that the food was very good. But Dave, I just don't think it's worth dying over.
No.
I just don't think it's worth dying over.
No, there is not a Canadian maple donut that is worth buying. Right? It's just not it. What do you got? We got 2 minutes.
Real quick one here. Real quick one. We're talking about, so I'm going to keep it space friendly. And this is my usual Florida man story. Okay, real quick. A Florida man was arrested Friday for driving a stolen pickup truck into a Space Force base in Brevard County, Florida, on what he called a mission from the President of the United States. According to 29-year-old Corey Johnson of Ocala, Florida, he stole the Ford F-150 from Riviera Beach 3 days before he drove the stolen truck into Patrick Space Force Base. When Johnson tried to get on the base, he reportedly claimed the president told him telepathically that he needed to take the vehicle to warn the government officials that the U.S. aliens, quote unquote, were fighting Chinese dragons.
Chinese dragons sound interesting.
Johnson was arrested and booked into the Brevard County Jail. He was charged with grand theft of a motor vehicle. Bond was set at $3,000. So now we know why, Dave. There is your big answer. We're fighting Chinese dragons.
I knew it was coming.
You know, for weird and funny news, I mean, Florida is just a place to be. This is it has a never-ending plethora of stories just like this. I don't know what's happened. I mean, is it the latitude and longitude? Is that on the same parallel as the Great Pyramids or something? Is that where Florida's positioned, Dave? Is that why it keeps happening?
I don't know. I don't know what is going on, man. But you know what? Florida is the gift that keeps on giving when it comes to the weird news of the week. That's why we love it when Terry Hall joins us each and every week to try and bring out these great stories for you.
This is Spaced Out Radio. Your host, Dave Scott.
All right, buddy, we're clear.
I had a couple good ones left over here. This has been a pretty salty week. Pretty salty week. I was actually told today at work that I was salty. And then when Race Fan joined the chat this evening, he said he had just made it back from the salt mines. So it's been a salty week this week, Dave.
Oh, my.
We've got a good story about Zoltar, the fortune-telling dude.
Love it.
Well, let's just say drunken wildlife. And something for you to be proud of because it's one of your fellow Canadians.
Well, that's good.
You know, Dave, there's this thing, Shepherd Express, and they have a merch design contest. Seeing that Spaced Out Radio's got the best merch out there.
Nothing ugly.
I am going to send you the link to this thing. I think that if you would send in your top 5. So guys, if you'll go onto the website, peruse through Dave's merch, let us know what your top 5 picks are. I'll make sure that we send these into Shepherd Express, and we'll see if we can't win this whole thing.
Oh, why not? I'm game.
Yeah. So how is the Haunted 108 shaping up there, Bossaroni? How's the ghosties and ghoulies and goblins this year?
So far, it's good. We had a lot of activity going on this past weekend.
Did you? I know you were doing a tour this weekend.
I did. And we had 15 people, and there was a couple areas that were just so hot, including the ladies' parlor in the McNeil house. I didn't even get in the room, and everybody had already made a circle because there was something in the middle that was setting off all of the meters. It was great.
So now that the tours are starting up, so's the activity again, huh?
We're warming it up, yeah.
Oh, methodology, Dave.
Oh, yeah.
Methodology.
Putting it out there, man.
I still think we all need to sit down and write an updated book on methodology for this stuff. I mean, we've got some really good off-the-shelf tech that we can apply to this kind of thing if you just use it, kind of think out of the box a little bit.
I think so. Excuse me.
Do you have one, or do I need to get a written note from your mother?
You need a written note. Definitely need a written note. I can tell the weather's changing again. My knees are just killing me tonight.
I'm in that boat with you. I had the old man syndrome today. I coughed really hard earlier today at work and threw my back out. That sciatica can jump up and literally bite you in the butt pretty much anytime it wants anymore.
You got that right.
And the Germans have a really outstanding idea that I think that we could use in some of the major metropolises that we have here in the United States. And I can't forget the warning about doing this. Don't let me forget that one, Dave.
I will do my best. You know how I am with my memory, though.
When we come back, I think we ought to get that warning out, because I don't know how big of a story it is, but it has some pretty serious ramifications. So for the audience, I think it would be something that we should share.
Sure. I'll let you lead the way.
Gonna have to quit doing that after this story. I'm doing this and doing this.
Right? All right, my man. We got about 20 seconds. And 15. And here we go, Terry. We are into the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. We always appreciate Terry Hall joining us for the weird news of the week. And Terry, I got one here for you that's a little bit weird. You know how we kind of have been bugging the younger generation about, participation badges?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this one really takes the cake. How many valedictorians did you have in your school?
3.
3?
I was 1.
Well, I've only ever known that there's only supposed to be one valedictorian. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's an American thing. I don't know.
It was for different fields of study, Dave.
Well,
so the graduating class.
Island, 21 valedictorians at Jericho High School. Every single one of them finished their high school career with straight A's in every class in all 4 years, but not one would say it was easy. It was hard. There were many nights where I wondered why I was putting myself through this, said Rhea Shaw, pardon me. Shaw is now accepted into Princeton. Good for her. I hope she makes a great life because that's a great school. Man, I could, I'd be lucky to hit community college, let alone, right? But yeah, 21 valedictorians. I've never heard of this before.
I think that is an American thing, Dave. I think that is an American thing. If you haven't heard of it up there, my son's graduating class had 8 valedictorians, all straight A students, kind of thing.
How do you have that?
Well, I guess you just grow up with some really smart people who get all straight A's all the way through school.
Man.
Now, when it came to the separate fields of study, you had to be like A game kind of thing to be that, like the valedictorian you're thinking about. That was the A game dude who had all the stuff, all the medals and his or her varsity jacket and king and queen of the prom and that kind of thing. But yeah, and 21 valedictorians. I mean, a lot of smart kids. My hat's off to them. So I do have a warning that I ran across, Dave. And it kind of affects everybody now. You know how when you're taking those selfies with people, you're always kind of giving it the old peace sign or the thumbs up. Well, over the last week, a group of hackers in Spain has figured out how to use AI and any picture that you're doing showing your fingerprints to use those fingerprints to bypass fingerprint ID. And
so you're saying they don't need to take your fingerprints anymore?
No, they can take your fingerprints off of a photograph, digitally enhance them with AI, and use it to bypass certain forms of fingerprint touch ID now. Facial recognition is next. So as quick as we're thinking up security, ways to do security and ways and means to keep things secure is just as fast as AI is helping them break it apart now. I spoke to one of my clients today. She actually works for United Airlines. Do you know their passwords have to be 32 characters long and they have to change them once every 30 days?
Hold on, repeat that again.
Their passwords for their sign-ins at United Airlines have to be a minimum of 32 characters long. They have to change it every 30 days, and they cannot repeat any part of their password for, I think it was either 3 months or 6 months. I couldn't even think of a new password every 30 days, much less one that's 32 characters long. It'd take you 5 minutes just to sign in to clock in at work.
And now you have to have a symbol, a number, a capital letter, a long password, and then you have to mix it on up. And then on top of that, after you make this virtually indestructible password, now you got to do one of them validation codes that you have to have texted to your phone number or your email.
Yep.
This is driving me nuts, man.
Or a push notification. I found out I like the push notifications myself because there's not so much typing involved. But I got a good story coming out of France, Dave.
I want to hear it.
Okay, well, the gendarmes have warned the motorists in France to drive a little more careful this time of the year. Watch out for inebriated wildlife. UPI reported on May 13th that social media posts from the police at Saint-Ouen region of north central France, the Champagne region, of course, showed deer running around erratically after consuming fermented fruit. Not all road users are sober, the gendarme said. If Bambi overindulges on the forest aperitif, it may not be the time to drive like you own the road. I love how they can just make things sound so cool. You know, like Bambi and aperitifs and things like that. The French. Hats off to them. Sudden crossing an inconsistent trajectory, immobilization on a road, and or disorderly escape from wildlife has the gendarmes warning French drivers to please be careful driving over the next 3 to 4 weeks. Berlin also has something really cool going on, Dave. And I think this is something that we should import here to the United States. It's called the scheme to swap trash for treats. One man's trash is another man's treasure, Dave. And under a new scheme launched in Berlin on Wednesday, residents and visitors alike will be encouraged to collect rubbish for various rewards. Under the program dubbed Berlin Play, litter picking is one of a range of activities which will be rewarded with benefits such as canoe tours, restaurant discounts, and free museum tickets. I think that's a good idea, Dave. I think we could use that in more cities right here in the good old USA. What do you think about that?
Anything to help. Anything to help, man. Bring it on.
Well, I tell you what, they got it really backwards. And, well, not so much backwards. I mean, the intent is right, but the species is incorrect. Talking about fecal matter. New York's getting ready to spend another $3 million to put, you know, those doggy bag dispensers so you could pick up your $3 million to put them out and around the city so people can pick up fecal matter from their pets.
So
the big outcry about that one is there's not so much pet fecal matter as people fecal matter. So hopefully they'll put some big bags out. I don't know.
So let me get this, because they're not using paper bags for people to pick up their doggy doo-doo.
I knew you were going to go there.
They use plastic bags.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, if you live in a place like I do in British Columbia, where plastic is bad when you go to the grocery store, except everything is wrapped in plastic, but the plastic bags are the issue, that you take them home and, you know, reuse them.
You know, here in Oregon, Dave, you cannot get a plastic bag at a store.
You cannot here either. So my question is, because I think New York may be like that as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. My question is, Why does the city allow plastic bags?
Well, that's about as smart as California putting paper straws in.
Oh, we got
plastic
paper
wrappers.
straws here. Horrible, horrible decision.
Yeah, in plastic wrappers, right?
No, ours are in paper wrappers now. But here was the stupid thing. When the straw mandate, the paper straw mandate, which tastes terrible, by the way, when the paper straw mandate came in, Starbucks and other coffee shops were actually wrapping their paper straws in plastic.
Yeah.
Explain to me how that makes sense. And if you as a human being could justify putting a paper straw in a plastic safety cover, you're what's wrong with this planet. That's all I'm saying. You are what's wrong with this planet.
I have to agree. I have to agree.
You know what else is banned in Canada?
What's that?
Dixie cups. You know, or pardon me, the red drinking cups.
Oh, solo cups.
Solo cups.
Solo
Yeah.
cups. They're actually banned in Canada, really?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Because Justin Trudeau didn't like them. And yet here he is being photographed all over with Katy Perry drinking out of red solo cups.
I wonder if it would cause an international incident if I mailed you 100 solo cups. We may have to put it to the
I would
test.
love to have a solo cup again.
We're going to have to put it to
I
the
really
test
would.
because my local grocery store has them on sale for the 4th of July celebration.
Want to get me anything? Get me plastic bendy straws and solo cups for my birthday this weekend. Ship them all up. You know?
That
Ship them
sounds
all up.
like a plan. That sounds like a plan. You know, China has a very unique way of protesting things. And one of their top sellers over this U.S.-China tariff war has caused a spike in the sales of the Trump toilet brush.
Oh, no.
It's Donald Trump in various poses with his famous hair as the brush itself. Sales have spiked. The Chinese-made toilet brush designed as a parody of the American president Donald Trump has seen a massive spike in domestic sales as a result of the tariff war. I think that is the most unique way of protesting something that I've ever seen. You got to see the silly little things. If I could get one, I'd get one myself.
Right? Well, I have a good story here for you. This one's actually kind of creepy, and it happened in Atlanta. Okay. You know the Waymo self-driving cars that can be seen all over in big cities now?
Yes.
Okay. Well, apparently, this one got a little creepy because in one Northwest Atlanta neighborhood, the residents say dozens of Waymo cars ended up circling their cul-de-sac. Yeah. It's almost like every little cul-de-sac in any small town or big town. I think it's a problem, one neighbor said. On a dead-end street, Waymo after Waymo after Waymo was driving on, taking the circle, usually early in the morning. It happens between about 6 or 7. Residents of Battleview Drive said they started seeing the autonomous driverless cars about 2 months ago. But the groups and large numbers of Waymos just circling in and out only started in the last couple of weeks. The neighbors shared their video with Channel 2 Action News when one resident put a Step 2 kid sign up in the street. It blocked all of the Waymos from entering the cul-de-sac. But how that played out was a surprise by those living there. We had at one point 8 Waymos that were stuck trying to figure out how to turn around, the neighbor said. The Waymos are empty and not picking up anyone. And parents are worried, saying that it's just not excessive, but dangerous. We're families. We have small animals and pets, got kids getting on the bus in the morning, and it just doesn't feel safe to have that traffic. The residents say they've reached out to Waymo and have not gotten a response. So they have also contacted the city council member, representatives, and the Georgia's Department of Transportation. The neighbors say they don't know what to do. We would just like to see them stay on the main traffic roads. I don't think there's any reason for them to be on small residential cul-de-sacs if they're not picking somebody up. How creepy is that, my man?
You know, I've heard something else really weird about those Waymos too. I got a buddy who lives by the Waymo parking lot in Salt Lake City, where they go to the cars actually drive themselves there to recharge, right? But when Waymo cars get too close, they honk. And the guy said ever since they put that parking area, the recharge station there, that no one within like a mile of that place has got a good night's sleep, because they honk and honk and honk, trying to back into their stalls to charge. I guess the space in between the front end of the car behind it and the rear end of the car backing into this charging station, it approaches too close, which causes the car to honk. And it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, constant honking of Waymo cars.
That is just odd. I don't know. You know, I don't want to sound like the old dude, the get off my lawn kind of dude. I don't know if I'm ready to actually sit in one of those Waymo cars, man.
When self-driving first came out, I wanted to go test drive a Tesla just to see what it was like. Still haven't to this day. But man, I don't know. You almost have a hard time getting me in one of those things anymore, Dave, especially one that is just completely autonomous. Because, you always hear the stories of the battery went dead. The guy couldn't even get out of the car, taking him to the wrong location, and it won't unlock the doors to let him out of the car. That kind of stuff is pretty commonplace. I mean, think about it when you're at work and they change your software up. Well, for the next 2 weeks, nothing works right. I can't imagine that that's any different than sending out updates for those Waymos, especially if they're running off Google Maps. I was following a Google map one time. It was supposed to be taking me somewhere else. I ended up in the middle of this guy's yard.
Oh my.
Yeah, and it wasn't one of those take me the shortest way. It was like the main road is supposed to be but I ended up in the middle of some dude's yard. It was, yeah.
I just don't know if I'm ready for that. Now, I have with one of our listeners in Nebraska who saw me at the Bigfoot conference there last year.
Mm-hmm.
He had an autonomous Tesla Cybertruck. And I'd never been up close and personal with a Tesla Cybertruck. And I don't care if you like them or not. I think they're kind of cool. I really do. And I could say, he goes, hop in the front seat. So I hop in the driver's seat. He goes, okay, look forward. And he presses a couple of buttons. And next thing you know, this thing is driving by itself. At least I knew that I had the ability, if I didn't trust it, that I could take over. You know what I'm saying? But with the Waymo cars, where there is no way to take over, that scares the daylights out of me. Like, I would never ride in one and then go over a bridge. That's just my nightmare right there. Going over the Golden Gate Bridge with all the sharks that live underneath that. Okay, not happening with Dave.
Well, you know how you were in the Tesla when it was self-driving, you had to occasionally reach up and touch the steering wheel so it kind of lets the computer know that you're not sleeping.
Absolutely.
I was in a friend's Cadillac Escalade, a newer Cadillac Escalade, and it's self-drive. You can basically go to sleep behind the wheel of a Cadillac with its self-driving on. And now it's supposedly a lot more accurate than Tesla's is, but still, A hard pass for me, man. A hard pass for me.
Not doing it. My final
Yeah.
story, we got about 90 seconds. In Melbourne, Australia, farmer Reese Smoker announced he'd found a live frog in a bag of lettuce. His housemates didn't believe him. Smoker had been preparing a steak and salad dinner on Saturday for 3 people who came on over to his house. And when he said he spotted the frog among the leaves inside the sealed plastic bag he had bought from a supermarket, he's like, "Oh, bro, there's a frog in the lettuce." And we're like, "No, you're taking the mick. That's not real." But it was real. He brought the bag into the lounge room to show Jones and her partner, Billy Lee. Obviously, there was a little frog hiding out, and we all saw it and laughed about it. They said they named the frog Greg before releasing it in a pond near the house. We thought we'd just give him a wee send-off tune as we played Crazy Frog for him. Smoker and his partner, Lily, had bought the lettuce at a Woolworths supermarket, and that's kind of cool. They released it back into the wild, so good job on them. And Greg, I'm sure, is having a great time if he's not already alligator food.
Well, keeping it science-based and animal-based, you found the frog. Well, do you know that bioengineering company hatches chicks out of completely artificial eggs? Colossal Biosciences is the world's first de-extinction company, and they have hatched a chicken out of an egg that was artificially produced.
Terry, I want to say a big thank you for coming on in and sharing the weird news of the week with us. We always do appreciate you doing that, my friend.
I got to get in the habit of quit doing that now. Unless it's real, fuzzy.
Thumbs up as we say hello, Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAB, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on X at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and Bigfoot Broadcasting Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
We're watching.
we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night, everybody. Good job, Terry Hall.
Grazie. Oh, and hey, congratulations, by the way,
What's that?
for the more expanded coverage of SOR on the radio.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
More to come, more to come, more to come.
Always. We're working on it.
Mm-hmm.
We're working on it.
Well, Dave, rock out. Thanks for having me tonight, guys. I have got an early day tomorrow, so I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week. And thanks again for having me.
I'll give you a call tomorrow, Terry.
Ciao for now.
All right. Terry Hall, everybody. I'm just waiting for my phone to ring. from WABC in New York. So if you all want to join us there. And birthday boy Paramarv was not here today. How do I sing happy birthday to him if he's not here? But for the rest of you, we will see you tomorrow night. Our guest will be Thomas Fessler. We are going to get into the whole UFO subject once again. 3 days of paranormal. It's time to talk some UFOs. That's all I'm going to say. It's time to talk some UFOs, and that is what we're going to do. Thank you to Kitty and Cosmic Joe for the super chats. Good night, everybody. We'll see you all tomorrow. Don't forget to leave a comment after the show. And there's New York. See you later, guys. Hey, buddy. How you doing? Good, good. I'm just signing off my show. Give me 2 seconds here.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
You need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.